Dating times are tough in the United States. It is a literal jungle out there. I don't want to disparage my countrywomen by any means, but I also want to be honest about my dating pool experience in the United States and what was available to me at that time period. But first, a little bit about me. At the time of the start of this story, I was 55 years old, employed, father of one 20-something-year-old who had a job and was in college. My time was mostly taken up by my teaching job, which has fantastic hours, and then coming home to research how I wanted to start preparing for my retirement. I dated here and there, but was finding my dating pool to be very shallow. I'm a regular-looking guy. I've been athletic my whole life and have stayed in shape and regularly would get mistaken for being a decade or more younger than I am. My only debt at the time was a mortgage that was nearly paid off, and I had an almost perfect credit score. Even my dog and my daughter found me fun to be around, and all I was hoping to find in a female was someone in my age group that could match my qualities at least a 75% scale or more. I searched and searched, but it seemed impossible to find what I perceived to be my realistic minimum expectations for a date. My possible dating options generally still had school-aged children in the home, or they had no job, or they had no transportation, or they weren't able to walk around the park without having to stop. They hate their exes but communicate with them frequently. They were also saving up for their next sleeve tattoo and wanted me to remember their pronouns and the pronouns of their children. As it appeared, I would not date anyone who wanted to date me. Eventually, I gave up. Literally every Saturday, I would stop at the carryout and pick up a six-pack and sit at home and drink beer and watch either car shows or Alaska shows. This went on for about 2 years, and my daughter would come over every Sunday and watch the TLC show 90 Day Fiancé with me. What a train wreck that show still is. It became even more of a train wreck when one Saturday I brought home 2 six-packs, watched a 90 Day Fiancé marathon, and I woke up Sunday with a headache and 275 notifications from women all across the globe from an international dating site that allowed drunk, lonely American men to sign up and pay the fee for a 30-day membership. I was horrified at first, but I decided to make the best of it and scroll through a few profiles. I then made the decision to wade through the 275 messages I had received on my drunken profile creation. I hadn't even filled it out completely, so I went back and decided to be 100% serious and honest about my life and my expectations for a relationship. I'm previously married and had decided not to play any games whatsoever, and maybe, if I'm lucky, lightning would strike and I would find a suitable companion. I entered my true weight and height, as well as posting unfiltered pictures of myself in regular clothes, full body length, doing nothing to hide my imperfections. I stated that I was looking for a long-term relationship leading to marriage, and I wasn't looking for anyone raising children, as I had already lived that portion of my life. Then it came to put what I wanted in a possible match. I came up with female, petite, height, weight appropriate, no young kids, 35 to 50 years old, English speaking, employed, willing to work, willing to relocate to the U.S., willing to be partners in love and finances. I didn't want to limit myself by picking certain countries or skin tones or hairstyles, etc. Once I finished this task, I felt that I was being fair and dove into the first message, and then the next 274 were waiting. This was a daunting task that was going to take a few hours, so I devised a system. I was going to stick to my expectations to see if they really read my profile or were just hitting every new profile looking to scam the new guy. My first stop was to look at their profile picture to see if they were at least reasonably average or more. If so, I would read their profile. If I was way out of their age bracket or they were way out of mine, delete. If they have small children at home or were separated, delete. No job or career, delete. If they passed that first step, I would read their message carefully. I know making the first move is difficult, so if they made a reasonable effort to get my attention, I would write back a quick message referencing something in their profile to let them know I had read their profile. I messaged back very quickly those in opposite time zones. I would have to wait 12 hours for a reply for those in opposite time zones. By the end of the day, I had narrowed some choices down to about 40 profiles that emailed me back and appeared interested. I thought I was on the right path and would have my future wife picked out within the first week. That is until I woke up for work Monday to a great big shock. When I woke up in the morning after wading through my first haul of 275 interested women from around the globe, I was shocked to see that I had another 250 new messages waiting on me. I won't bore you with my vetting process again, except to tell you that by the end of the next weekend, I had been through about 1,200 separate profiles. Throughout the course of the week, I had those 1,200 narrowed down to about 200 that I had messaged several times, but occasionally another 4 or 5 messages would roll in and I would look at them. I was spending about 3 hours a day looking at profiles and responding to messages. I felt like I had just started a new part-time job with all the hours it took to make a legitimate run at a relationship. I had started this process at the very beginning of August, and by the first week of my 4-week $30 membership, I had approximately 200 reasonably attractive women and what I thought might be good matches for me. One thing to clear up. The reason I paid for a membership, besides the fact I was making decisions fueled by alcohol, is that you can get messages from all women on the site for free, but you can't message them back without a membership. Another week went by and some women found their way out for whatever reason. Maybe they found a better looking guy or a guy closer to their country, or they lied on their profile so they didn't want to have to explain themselves, and I also found my way out from several message pals for various reasons as well. So by the end of week 2, I really narrowed it down to about 40 women that I wanted to dig a little deeper with. And so I would send them a recent photo of myself out hiking or at work, and I would ask them for the same. About half of them obliged, and the other half were probably using fake profile pictures, so they found their way out. Going into week 3, I had realized that I had messaged women from about 10 to 15 different countries, but there was starting to be a trend. I was spending the majority of my time and energy on maybe 2 prospects from Russia or Ukraine, a few from Thailand, and then the rest from the Philippines. I had never even considered any of these countries, as I have only traveled to most of our 50 United States, Canada, Mexico, and the Bahamas, but never to a different hemisphere. So I had no frame of reference to the Philippines, nor do I ever think I've seen a Filipina in person. So week 3 found me wanting to take the next logical step and FaceTime with the final 20 women who were still interested. I reached out to each one individually to set up an appointment to FaceTime 9 of them, admitted they couldn't speak English and were using a translator app. The other 10 or so said yes to a video chat. I had my work cut out for me because we were in week 3 of a 4-week Find a Relationship challenge. I had never made a video call in my life, but I pulled out my iPhone and made contact with my first prospect. To say it was awkward would be an understatement. As I related to you in episode 2, I was making a big move to finally have some FaceTime to FaceTime interaction with some of the finalists from my worldwide dating search, which really was just becoming a search of the Philippines. So to prepare for these one-on-one discussions with mainly Filipinas, I jumped on YouTube and searched dating in the Philippines. I began watching every video that seemed reasonable to a guy that had no clue about the Filipino culture or way of life. I expected it to be more like an Asian Canada than an Asian Mexico, which were my only two frames of international reference. Looking back, I still watch some of the vloggers from back then, but I quickly found out many of the vloggers were full of BS and just guessing to make content. I am really glad I made viewing YouTube videos a priority, as it came in handy throughout my video calls. The Philippines is 14 hours ahead of my time in the fall season, so you will either be video calling them when they first wake up, or they will be calling you when you first wake up. This will be an important fact that will lead to my ultimate relationship choice. I found out that a large percentage of the Filipino people are taught English in high school and college, so it would be more likely that I would have success in communicating there. Looks are important, but I'm a guy who enjoys great conversation and a sense of humor, so speaking English would be high on my list. The first young lady I called was out of my age group. I said I wouldn't do it, but she was so darn pretty. Very petite, shoulder-length dark black hair, blue eyes, which is very uncommon there, and beautiful light brown skin. And I enjoyed chatting over Messenger with her. So Anna was my first call. When she showed up on screen, she looked very young, as most Filipinas do. So I verified her age at 25. As I learned from my research on YouTube, she was strikingly pretty and very shy. She spoke enough English to make it interesting. We chatted for about 10 minutes, and I couldn't wait to talk to her again. I repeated this video calling circle every morning and every evening of week 3 with all of the remaining contenders from the dating site, but my mind was mostly on Anna. Anna was a housekeeper for a wealthy family, 6 days a week, making $5 a day. She said she lived with her friend in a very small house, which was later revealed to be more of a shack. I didn't care. She had me with her cute smile and shy demeanor, and we talked twice a day into week 4. At the beginning of week 4, I felt we had a real connection, and Anna confessed that she really liked me, but had to tell me the truth.
My name Anna. I live in General Trios, Cavite in my friend's small house. I work every day but not Sunday because of church. I am family maid every day. I clean, do laundry by hand and cook for rich family in city. I am away from my house 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. I paid 250 peso day. I am 25 years and I had 2 Filipino boyfriend who cheat me, and I want to find older foreign who will have good mind and good income to help me. If I am lucky to marry and leave my bad situation here. I doing like my friend and join the app to search a foreign. I chat men, but I work too much, so not easy. I see a older foreign on app and send chat and we talk so much. He is very kind when he talk. He never ask for no clothes pictures. I think I really like him, and for weeks I tell him. His name is Rob from United States. I know foreign from America are all rich, so I feel good he chat me. He say I am very pretty and sweet. My mind start to feel hurt because I hold secret from him. I must tell him my secret.
What could she tell me that could possibly dissuade me from this beautiful, kind-hearted young lady was beyond me, until she turned her camera around to show me her 2-year-old daughter and newborn baby. I was sad. I wished her well and told her that I wasn't in that place in my life anymore and didn't want to lead her on any further. She understood, and we never video chatted again. So now in week 4, I'm down to 3 prospects to continue on with until my membership runs out on the 31st. So I make my video call to Samantha to see if she is the one. As I said at the end of episode 3, I reluctantly moved on from Anna and her 2 small children and was getting ready to continue video chatting with Samantha. Samantha was 30 years old, and if you are familiar with the Filipino culture, a 30-year-old woman is pretty unwanted and considered an old maid. Samantha was pretty good at English and had a good sense of humor and laughed a lot. Her personality was infectious, and she was easy on the eyes. She was petite, had waist-length straight black hair that shimmered in the sunlight, and had the same smooth light brown skin as many in her country did. I always had trouble ending the video call with her as she was so engaging. She said she had a medical issue when she was young that prevented her from having children, so I felt I was in the clear on that issue. Samantha would call me when she was out at the local bar/restaurant in her small town that had live music or karaoke, and she was out with her whole family. She would talk to me and then go off to the dance floor and dance with her sisters or sing karaoke while leaving the video chat on for me to watch her. It was fun to see what her life was like in her small town. As much as I liked talking to her, I still had 2 more Filipinas to chat with regularly and get to know via video chat, but Samantha was the clear number 1. After I would hang up with Samantha, I would call Lovey. That is her real given name. Lovey lived in the province. Lovey was 29 years old and had wavy, dyed brown shoulder-length hair, big brown eyes, full lips, and a well-endowed chest that you wouldn't normally expect on such a petite woman. We were chatting regularly, but sometimes her phone would mess up and she would only be able to message and sometimes be able to send pictures. I understood because phones are a huge expense there, and they tended to keep their phones longer than their useful electronic life cycle. I continued to chat regularly with Samantha and Lovey nearly every day and every night, and occasionally someone from the dating site would pop in and video chat with me for a few days. My usual routine consisted of a video chat with Samantha at 6 p.m. my time, and then she would be off to work at 6:45, which would be 8:45 a.m. her time. I would then video chat Lovey at 7 p.m. or message her if her phone wasn't working, and then she would be off to work around 7:30. I would eat my dinner and I would check my dating site messages, but they were really drying up by then, and that was okay because I was busy trying to make my final decision anyways. My August 31st paid subscription was nearly expired, as it was August 29th, and I was checking my messages and only had one new message. Both Samantha and Lovey were not available to chat, so I opened the message. It was just a simple, "Hi." Not much effort from this contestant. But being true to my system and a little boredom, I read the profile. 36 years old. Bingo. 4 feet 11 inches tall. Bingo. Teacher for 14 years. Bingo. Master's degree. Bingo. Owns a small house. Bingo. No children? Jackpot. I could not believe my good fortune. But then I looked at her pictures. Last time I told you that I had found the holy grail of Filipina dating site profiles. That is, until I saw her pictures. She had several pictures to view. They were very odd in that something didn't add up. Some pictures were pictures of pictures. Some she looked at a different weight than others. In some, her face looked weird at a certain angle. Now, when I tell you in the looks department, Anna was a solid 8. Samantha was also an 8. And good old Lovey was an 8.5. I'm dead serious because this new woman with the great profile was a 5, if I'm to be kind. I was running out of paid days on the site, and it was getting late, so I felt a strong push from reading her profile to answer back. I could see she was online, and egotistically I felt like she would respond immediately to this great catch that was me. And I felt like chatting, so I shot her back a message and said, "Hello, I see you are a teacher. So am I. What grade do you teach?" I sat there expectantly waiting on her immediate reply and for her to shower me with compliments and tell me how she had been waiting her whole life for someone like me to sweep her off her feet. But 30 minutes later, nothing. An hour later, nothing. 2 hours later in bedtime, nothing. Oh well, I thought, it's her loss. I woke up the next morning expecting a 5-paragraph essay from the teacher entitled, "How Do I Love Thee? Let Me Count the Ways." My inbox was empty except for the random 63-year-old widow with a hockey smile looking for love and a cute girl promising me naked pictures if I would just send her $20 US via Western Union. I passed on both opportunities. Man, how could I have been so drawn to this teacher's profile and then be so rudely ignored with just 36 hours left in my paid membership? I moved on to my usual chatting with Samantha and Lovey, and I was having a great time chatting, knowing I would soon get to make a decision. In my past dalliances, I had dated 2 women at the same time more than once when I was young and handsome, but that turned out to be nothing more but being secretive and looking over your shoulder, constantly trying not to get caught. So I knew that for me to be all in, I would soon have to make a real choice. Knowing that this paid subscription would be over sooner than later, I invited both Samantha and Lovey over to my Facebook page so I could continue chatting on Messenger for free. They both made their way over before the 0-hour paid deadline expired. As I normally did, I went to work, and when I had a chance to check my messages, I did, and once again, it was another really old Filipino wearing a too small Chanel t-shirt and trying to look sexy, and a ladyboy wondering if I was curious to look under her black evening gown. I declined both offers and was disappointed that teacher lady still shunned my advances, but I just had to know, so I sent her a message that I was out of time on the site, and if she wanted to talk to me, she would be forced to come to Facebook, and I gave her my profile name. August 31st came and went, and I was now chatting Samantha and Lovey on Messenger chat, but teacher lady had not left a message on the dating site as my $30 paid profile came to a close. But all was not lost. Samantha had just had a professional-looking photo shoot done the previous week, and now she had the digital proofs back. Your typical nice clothes on, flattering poses, showing off her attributes and hiding her imperfections. The photographer pushed her to a solid 9 in the photo world, but then she sent me a single photo separately and asked me the question, am I ugly? The picture had soft sunlight in the background that flooded everything around her. She was sitting cross-legged in a park on well-manicured grass, looking up at the camera with her lips seductively painted red and a beautiful straight hair behind one ear and the rest cascading over her far shoulder, forming a shimmering black wall from her chin to her lap. The photo was taken from the side, and she was wearing a sheer white sleeveless top, no bra, and exposing just enough of her left breast to keep it classy, but also enough to make this old man weak in the knees. I think I had all the information I needed right then to make my decision and contemplate a marriage proposal. That is, until I opened a message from Lovey, and you will not believe what she was proposing. With Samantha and her fantastic photo shoot fresh on my mind, I moved over to a message from Lovey. Lovey said that her phone was on its last legs, and she seemed to be only getting some of my messages, and she didn't have video chatting anymore because the camera wouldn't engage. So if she doesn't respond, don't be mad because it is her out-of-date phone's fault, not hers. She wanted to keep on messaging longer that day because it might be the last time she can communicate with me before the phone completely went out. We messaged for about an hour longer than usual, and the service was intermittent until she sent a photo and said, "Please look at this." I could read the writing, but the photo came through blank. I messaged her that I couldn't see the photo, but she didn't reply. I waited 10 minutes and said, "Hello," but no response. I felt a little helpless and started to miss her within the hour, but there was nothing I could do. I woke up the next morning and quickly checked to see if Lovey's picture had come through, but no luck and no new message from her. So I chatted up to beautiful Samantha and had a great discussion with her about her pictures and that someday I would like to visit the Philippines and maybe meet her. She thought that was a grand idea and was so happy that she sent me 2 more classy semi-provocative photos from her tasteful photo shoot. I must have been really feeling the connection because our 45-minute discussion flew by in a heartbeat. I carefully moved her photos over to my iPhone picture storage for safekeeping, and I must admit I felt like a brand new man with Samantha firmly in my corner. Times had changed in the U.S., and I believe so did the women available to date me. So you can understand why I was on cloud nine when I went from 0 prospects to not one, but 2 beautiful women hanging on my every word and anxiously awaiting my every message. Speaking of messages, a few days later, I had a message from an unfamiliar name in my messenger inbox. Lilette was requesting to message me. I went to check the validity of this message, and lo and behold, it was the teacher lady. At this point, I was heavily invested in Samantha and Lovey, and in my mind, I'm like, the nerve of this woman to assume I saved a place at the video chat table for her. I mean, after all, she had not responded to me in almost 2 weeks. Does she not know how in demand I had become? So I opened the message to give her a piece of my mind, and she had acted as if she hadn't put me on hold for 10 days and just answered my one question and proceeded to ask me questions about my employer, about my living situation, about my education, about my adult child, and about my intentions should she entertain chatting me. I was a little teed off. But I went ahead and answered all her questions only because she had such a perfect profile, and I wanted to catch her lying on her profile. But before I could continue my passive-aggressive approach, Lovey popped back into my messages after several days of silence, and I couldn't click on her message fast enough. Even better news, I could finally see the mysterious photo she sent me a week ago, and it totally wasn't what I was expecting. I had really been missing my messages back and forth with Lovey. She hadn't sent a new message since the time she had been expressing that her old phone was intermittent at best and couldn't video chat anymore and couldn't send pictures very well. I missed getting pictures from her because, as I said, she was a very attractive Filipina and stood out from most not only because of her beauty, but because you couldn't help but notice how well endowed she was in her chest area. She never showed any cleavage or anything, so it wasn't like she was trying to show off, but when she wore a normal t-shirt, as most Filipinas I chatted with did, it was a focal point you could not ignore. But I digress. After over a week of no messages from Lovey's dilapidated phone, here she was, in the flesh, on my phone, with what I was sure would be a profession of her love and a description of her life being desperately boring because she missed chatting with me. I hurriedly punched the notification and waited what seemed like minutes for the mystery picture to load. As it slowly pixelated, I began to remember her other photos she sent prior, usually in running shorts and a t-shirt that accentuated her assets with her one-room, unfinished, cinder block house wall and unmade bed in the background. That may sound unappealing at first, but I felt that because I knew her personality deep down, I could see things in the way she stood, or the way she held her hands, or the way she was smiling or smirking. I looked forward to those innocent pictures from a beautiful girl. And as this mystery picture finished loading, my mind was racing with anticipation of what hidden messages her body language held for my eyes only. Then the mystery picture came into focus. My heart was literally racing, my breathing was heavy, and the mystery picture revealed itself. It was an off-brand phone. A picture of an off-brand phone with no explanation. Did she get a new phone and wanted me to know that she was doing everything she could to get it set up and get online back to our deeply connected relationship? I just sat there waiting and nothing else happened. Anyway, it was time for my daily morning call to Samantha, so I mentally switched gears and waited for her to buzz into the chat. Nothing happened. I tried again. Nothing. Well, maybe she had to leave early for work. I left her a sweet message and went about my work day. I really couldn't concentrate on work, which was okay because it was very slow and my mind was trying to figure out what Lovey's cryptic message meant. I ate my mid-morning snack and I got a messenger notification and I perked up. I know it sounds weird, but after so long of feeling neglected by the opposite sex and then having various attractive women vying for your attention, you kind of get addicted to the rush of the messenger notification. My mind went first to Samantha. I was sure she had finally saw I called and wanted to assure me she was okay, but couldn't talk due to work restrictions, or maybe it was Lovey telling me she got her new phone set up. But no, it was teacher Lilette. I reluctantly opened the message and she was almost businesslike, commenting on each answer to her earlier interrogation and then giving me some impertinent details that coincided with my answers and to her life as well. No smirky body language photo, no classy, racy glamour shot, just the facts, ma'am. I begrudgingly answered her questions and made some small talk about something I saw on YouTube about her country, and before I could finish, I had a message request from another Filipina-looking profile that I had never seen before. So I cut short my messaging to teacher Lilette, and I went to see if this message held something different. And different it was. Out of boredom, I had been replying to a message from teacher Lilette when a new message request popped up. So I popped out from Lilette and popped into my request to see a new person was sending me a message. The username was Angel, and Angel had also sent me a friend request. So I jumped over to Facebook to see what she was all about. She lived into the province and it looked somewhat remote. There were pictures of her with family members working in a small rice field and harvesting coconuts and a big cow-looking animal called a carabao. Angel looked different than my current love interests, Samantha and Lovey. She looked unrehearsed, if that makes sense. No makeup, no hair products, no clothing that would stand out. Just a farm girl living her cultural heritage life naturally and deep in the province. Angel's Facebook profile said she was 31 years old, a high school graduate, no kids, single, and obviously hardworking. There was something about a hardworking, naturally pretty woman that appealed to this farm boy. Kind of like an instant connection to my past. I knew what she was doing in every picture, and I knew the level of strength and perseverance it took to live that life on a daily basis. So I headed back to Messenger to answer her message request, but on the way, a notification from Lovey buzzed in. If you have been following along, Lovey has been absent due to her phone malfunctioning because it is wore out and out of date. Her last mystery message was just a photo of a phone with no context or comment. But first, I hadn't heard from Samantha in about a week of me sending her daily messages, checking in to see what happened or where she was, but to no reply. This would more or less be my last shot at making an effort because I was starting to feel ghosted by Samantha. Number one, I didn't want to appear to be begging for attention, and since it was clear she moved on, I really didn't want to waste her time or mine when I obviously have other hot prospects in Lovey and now Angel. So I go over to Lovey's message thread and it shows she has attached a picture. I tap on the photo hoping it is not another picture of her phone. One of the problems with her phone is that it pixelated while downloading pictures, probably due to the outdated technology. But as the new blurry picture pixelated, I could see the familiar cinder block wall as the backdrop and the bottom of the bed in the background, and then it looked like Lovey kneeling on her bed. I could see she was wearing what looked like her usual light blue running shorts, her shoulder-length hair coming into focus. My mind raced to the thought that she wanted me to read her smile and her body language in a picture taken just for my eyes. Surprise! The picture was for my eyes only, but it wasn't a set of teeth she had on display. Just to recap, Samantha has ghosted me much to my displeasure. Teacher Lilette was an okay, friendly chatmate, Angel has jumped into the mix from the province, and I just got a very non-mysterious picture message from Lovey. As I said, Lovey was an attractive woman with noticeable assets who was having phone trouble. Lovey sent me a picture of a phone and then disappeared, only to return with a picture of herself topless, kneeling on her bed with the cinder block wall in the background right where I remembered it. I was overwhelmed, to say the least. Sure, we had been talking for about a month or so, but this turn of events has ratcheted it up several notches. How should I respond? What should I say? I mean, is lunchtime a good time to propose marriage? As I gazed at my newfound fortune and future wife, I decided to take a minute and calm down and talk myself off the ledge. But these sort of decisions had to be made post-haste. I could not leave this woman literally hanging out to dry. So I began to carefully craft a rough draft to consider before I send it out for Lovey to see. She must understand my sincere appreciation for the intimate, personal photo she has entrusted for my eyes only. She should also be aware of my growing feelings for her. So I slowly pecked away at my keyboard, hoping that my message will seem like poetry to her ears or like a cold drink on a hot summer day. I was almost finished, but decided to take a short break and look at a new message from Angel. It was a video message that she entitled, "Here You Are," meaning I had asked her to take a short video of herself doing something she did every day on the farm. The video showed her outside their very small cinder block and tin roof house as she walked across the yard that had been worn bare by chickens and other farm animals. And she said in very broken English, "I am going to the edge of the forest to collect root crops for dinner." She propped her camera up on the ground and showed her very thin frame struggling to pull at the top of a plant time after time until the dirt finally released its bounty. It was with a very proud smile that she came to the camera and said, "We will eat this for dinner," and closed the video. That was quite possibly the cutest and sweetest thing I had seen in a long time. I was happy to have gotten that video. I went back to my carefully worded correspondence to my amply endowed future spouse, Lovey. As I was about to hit send, she sent me a message that completely told me where she stood, and I couldn't have been more happy that I didn't hit the send button quite yet. Let's be honest. Right now, my heart is broken from pouring my soul into finding a life mate, a wife, a like-minded female that is looking to succeed with me in finances and in love. And after whittling down 1,500 profiles, multitudes of messages, and FaceTime chattings, all I have to show for my efforts is one young woman with 2 children under 2 years old, an old maid teacher, a naked photo phone scammer, and a ghost. Well, let me tell you what, Samantha is right in the middle of a perfect storm to feel all of my pain pointed directly at her for leaving me alone when I needed her most. My message went something like this. "Hey, what's up? Are you kidding me? I message you every day for 10 days. I was worried to death that you could have been in a car accident or rushed to hospital with an illness, and you have the nerve to message me, 'Hey, what's up?' Screw you, that's what's up. I can be treated like this in my own country. I don't need to travel 9,000 miles to get the same terrible treatment. Stay out of my inbox. That's what's up." I did not get an immediate response, but who cares? She didn't care, so why should I? There are ample opportunities for me to continue searching for my one true love, and I'm not wasting my time on a woman who can't be troubled to message me back just to let me know that she is at least still alive. Hey, what's up? Indeed. I can't cool down. Every inadequate feeling of failure I've ever experienced is rushing to the surface, and literally I can feel the heat of my ears and face turning red as they are about to explode. Then the messenger notification dings. It is Samantha. Good. I hope she's sitting there crying and feeling like the piece of crap she truly is. I opened her message to see what better be a heartfelt apology or So help me.
I am Samantha and family call me Sam. I am 30 years old and live with my parents, 3 brother and Lola, and work in housekeeping in local hotel. I have many friends, boys and girls. We go in a group many times to karaoke or resto bar. I go to 2 years university and did not find my Filipino love. I see a foreign at my work someday and I think why not try for me. I join online dating and chat some men. I chat one man named Rob and think he is older but has in shape still and I think he make good husband for his own house and good salary. We chat every day and every night and I think I fall in love too easy. He say I am beautiful and really like chatting me. I always chat him until one day my small town have typhoon and kill our village. We had little warning and nowhere to go. Everything we own or build is gone. We have nothing, nowhere to live, no electricity, no water, and no internet. And I can't chat 2 weeks. When I internet I send message but he is rude and I block him.
After that well-deserved slap in the face from Samantha, I needed a break. I think I was trying too hard. I'm one of those make-it-happen guys. If I have a goal and I'm committed to that goal, nobody can stand in my way. I've always been competitive. Whether it was sports, grades, or my career, I was so competitive that through sheer hard work, discipline, and determination, I would always rise to the top and be successful at my goal. I thought this would be no different. Surely a man of my nature could find a match in a sea of 1,500 like-minded women who were also marriage inclined. But boy, did I muck this up royally. I took the weekend to reevaluate what my end game was. Was I being who I wanted to match with? Was I trying to do too much in such a short period of time? Had my time come and gone and I just didn't see the writing on the wall? All valid questions. I did some soul searching for the next few days. Afterwards, I decided to dip my toe back into the dating messaging pool slowly and continue to be polite and nice, Samantha's last message notwithstanding, and to be open to what others brought to the table besides being beautiful with big bra measurements. Shortly after this weekend of self-reflection, I did a little messaging with Angel, and she usually answered me promptly, but video chatting was proving a little difficult as my Tagalog was non-existent and her English was limited. And when she would get frustrated, we would end the FaceTime. Teacher Lilette, on the other hand, was kind of like a safe, fun place for me to message without worrying about whether she liked me or not, although she said that she did like me, but I didn't respond to that message. And I could just be myself and ask her questions about the Philippines, and she would inquire about the United States. Lilette's English was probably the best of everyone I chatted, mainly because in the Philippines, you go to high school and college in English. And she did have a master's degree in education, and that made messaging comfortable for me. Oftentimes I found myself wishing, why couldn't Samantha or Lovey or any of the other attractive women I messaged have Lilette's personality? That would have been a slam dunk jackpot. After a few days of Angel straining to communicate in English, I could see the writing on the wall. She was deep in the province where they had never even seen a foreigner. The internet was come and go, and speaking English was not a high priority. I could tell she was just too polite to tell me she is no longer interested, so the slow fade began. I really missed her broken English and her harvesting root crops and mango videos, but I wasn't here to make her life more difficult than it already was, so I gracefully bowed out, and I could tell she was appreciative.
Hi, my name is Angel. I'm 31 years old. I live in Santa Cruz, Philippines in province on small rice farm. I have 3 brother and 3 sister and we all stay in farm in house built by my father. I dream of going to United States and marry American and live my pitiful life here.
Our only money come from selling fruits we are gather and sell all day at market and rice. I say I finish high school but I have to leave grade 8 to help my family farm. I never see foreign before but in dating app one hope to find a Mary who can make life better for me and my family. I talked to one nice foreign Rob but my internet bad and he always chat. His words are too many and my English words are too small and it makes my head tired. I think a foreign is not worth it for me.
So if you start with all the marriage quality finalists I had been chatting with for months, here's the lineup. Anna, strikingly beautiful with deep blue eyes, but young with young children. Anna wanted to remain friends, so she would send me updates when she was able, and I appreciated that. Then there was Lovey, who I fell for hard and quick, but she turned out to be a scammer and a good one at that. Up next was Samantha, who was gorgeous in her glamour shot photos and was a hoot to talk to, and ghosted me for 2 weeks, or so I thought, and then I stuck my foot so far down my throat I lost my sock. Totally my fault. Finally on to Angel. Nothing much more to say, but a sweet and kind woman, but it was the wrong place and the wrong time. No harm, no foul. I really didn't want to give up, but this experiment was a failure. It was a tough pill to swallow because I was so embedded in the process and learned so much about a new country and its culture that I couldn't wait to visit. But it was all for naught as I had failed the mission at the ripe old age of 55. Although I had given up on online dating, I thought you could still visit the Philippines and see the beautiful beaches and the beautiful people. And Manila is one of the biggest and most well-known cities in the world. So I decided to continue my Philippines education with my teacher friend Lilette. And I messaged her and she replied, "I want to video chat to see if you are real." What in the world is she talking about? Don't ruin my view of your near-perfect personality with video of your below-average looks. I know this sounds callous. I really do. But her pictures were what her pictures were, and that's not my fault. I had not led her on one iota. I tried to beg off, but she stopped short of demanding a video chat right then and there. And to be honest, I already felt like a loser, so I didn't want to lose this friend. So I hit the button and waited for her to answer. And I prepared to hide my cringe whenever I saw her video would pop up. But when it did, I could never have expected what I saw. At this point, I have failed miserably on my quest to find a life mate. Some situations were my fault, and some were not my fault, and some just weren't anyone's fault. I put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I really just am not ready to try again in the international dating site. I had met some really sweet and kind women, and I let my ego push me past sweet and kind straight to buxom and beautiful. It's a tale as old as time. You know exactly what you want. But when you give a thirsty man the choice between a glass of water and a 6-pack of beer, inevitably I chose the latter when I really needed the former. Over the past 2 months, I had a really great experience, and I learned a lot about a new country, and I learned a lot about myself. If I were to do it all again, I would make a few tweaks to my system, and I think once I recover, I will have to make some hard choices. I could just accept my circumstances and live out my retirement years, caring for my dog and going fishing from time to time, or risk putting my heart out on the line and accept that heartbreak could be out there waiting for me again. So as you heard in the last episode, my Filipino friend, teacher Lilette, demanded that I video chat her to prove that I am real and not a scammer. Now understand that Lilette had hit every metric on my dating profile must-haves, and her personality on Messenger made me feel calm and relaxed, and that was something I needed when I was trying to juggle too many love interests on my mission to find a mate. So I guess I owed her a video call for all the kindness she had shown me when I really needed it. So I pressed the button and up she pops on video. I already had a good idea of what she looked like from her less than flattering profile pictures. But all of a sudden, I became very confused. I was barely able to muster a squeaky hello. She did not look like her photos. Quite the opposite. She looked like a really cute version of her photos. I was totally discombobulated. She was petite, like she said in her profile. She said she was 37 in her profile, but didn't look a day over 27. She had long, thick, jet black hair, smooth brown skin, and a shy smile. I couldn't stand it. My brain was spinning out of control. My heart was beating out of my chest. What just happened? I just hung up on the video call.
Hi, my name is Lilette. When my family is asking me if I want to go with them in a short vacation to Bohol, without any doubt in myself, I say yes. That was my first time to have a vacation in other places. So I was very excited to go to the popular resort city of Bohol. When my foot stepped down in Bohol, I said wow. It's an amazing place, people are kind and nice. I was not expecting that. The province of Bohol is so amazing. And I was not expecting also that place of Bohol there are a lot of foreigners. I was so shocked. I said to myself, oh no. It makes me amazed looking those foreigners. I enjoyed watching those Filipinos dated their foreign boyfriends, some are married. They look so sweet and happy. In my eyes, all foreigners are handsome and attractive because of their white skin color, pointed nose, their height and being hardworking. Maybe because I was young at that time I feel this way. While I was alone in the swing at the resort, there was a young guapo foreign man passing by at me and say hi with me. So, I say hello. But I feel shy and look down at the sand. I was sad and desperate at that time because I was broken-hearted with my first Filipino boyfriend. My Filipino boyfriend cheated with me. He was hard-working man but he cheated on me. I lost my trust and love. I thought he was my first and last boyfriend. I feel hatred to my ex-boyfriend. I promised to myself, I don't want to have any relationship to Filipino man again. I don't want to be hurt again. I was numb to a Filipino. And yes, it's true. Suddenly, it comes to my mind, how does those Filipinas found their foreign boyfriends or their husbands? What place do I go to find a foreign man? Are foreign men loyal and faithful when it comes to relationship? Is it hard to find them? It seems they are all taken here in my province. That vacation is giving me an idea to open my eyes wide and heart again by not closing my door and try to find my luck in other people's culture living in other side of the world. That led me to ask my co-teacher for advice and her advice scared me so I did not take advice of joining dating app. Years had passed after my vacation from Bohol. I kept myself busy by studying my master's degree. I enjoyed going to university every Saturday. Until one afternoon, while I'm browsing my Facebook page, I saw my college friend's profile. I sent her a message. And we started chatting. She's asking me, if I am married, how many kids do I have, where did my husband work? Do I have a good life? Too many questions that all answers are a no. When she heard it, she doesn't believe me. But that's the reality. I tell her, I'm not lucky with Filipino. So, she started sharing her love story. How she found her English husband. When and where did they meet, I ask. I just listening to her and say you're so lucky a girl. It makes no sense to me to find husband so far away. After a conversation, she shared a link to dating app. She said, girl, you're 33 right now, you're not a teenager. She encouraged me to sign up and find a foreigner in an online dating site. She gave some tips how to sign up. Put the best pictures as you can. Put a heading, looking for marriage, only serious man, no scammers please. Then, I tried to open the link. I saw there many foreigners from different countries. But I'm too shy and embarrassed at that time. So, did not continue to sign up to the apps. After 3 years, I finished my master's degree. Year 2018, my dad passed away. It makes me sad. I decided to go to our province in Mindanao to refresh my mind, smell fresh air and forget all the saddest thing happened to my dad. When I was sitting our terrace, suddenly it comes to my mind, my dad passed away, my mom is old now, my sisters are all married. What about me? I am still single. Should I be alone forever? I realize something missing in my life. I need to find a man to share my life, to talk to grow old with me, to comfort me when I'm down. When I went back to Manila after a month, my college friends sending me a message, asking how was my search. I said nothing happens. My friend says, "What? Girl, you're too old enough, you're not a teenager. You're not sweet 16. You're 36. You want to be an old maid forever?" I said, no. She said, "Go, sign up, hurry up. My friend is pushing me to join the dating app just to find my foreign destiny." That night before I sleep, I decided to sign up the dating app to join. But I prayed before I sign up. Everything I wrote in my profile are true. I put 3 pretty photos and started searching of foreigners from different countries.
My friend, Teacher Lilette, had just blown my mind. I did not know how to process what I had just seen and justify it against what I thought I knew. My brain short-circuited and I hung up on the video chat. Lilette had very homely pictures on her dating profile, but had everything else listed as if she read my profile first, then wrote her profile to correspond with mine. So personality-wise, we clicked and became friends over Messenger, but she finally put her foot down and demanded a video chat. And when she popped up on the screen, she resembled her pictures, but in a much more attractive way. I had been scammed before in a bad way, but she scammed me in a good way. So while I was trying to cool my jets and plot my next move, she is ringing me on the video chat. I take a deep breath and answer immediately. I apologize for my phone losing service. She believed me and we started some small talk about the weather. How was your job? What do you like to do for fun there? Her English was good compared to the others I had chatted, but you could tell she was not well practiced with a native English speaker. But it was enough to enjoy the conversation. About 20 awkward minutes had gone by, and it was a good time to not try and overdo it on the first call. We had 2 people who came into this conversation with completely different expectations. She already told me via Messenger she liked me because of my kind demeanor, and my pictures were honest depictions of what I looked like. On the other hand, thought way more of her personality than her photos. When those 2 worlds collided, it was the same old for her. But for me, it did stir up some butterflies in my stomach to be pleasantly surprised to see a face that actually matched her sparkling personality. I think she is much on the same scale as I would say about myself. Not beautiful, but she was cute, above average. And when you factor in her sweetness and her kindness, it put her in a different classification, and I was definitely interested in chatting with her again. I had so many questions to ask. I wanted to find out everything I could about her. Is how you are presenting yourself real and true? Is your life as stable as you say? Are you willing to relocate? After all of the different types of personalities I had interacted with over video chat, I really felt like I had the experience to know where to set boundaries and the correct way to ask questions of such a conservative woman who could easily misconstrue one English word for another. For instance, the standard of living there, even for a full-time teacher, is poverty level. Most teachers make about $300 to $350 a month. Sure, some things are cheaper in the Philippines, but some things are not. So if Lilette had a hard day at work, I could not say, "Oh, you poor thing." She might think I was making a judgment on her life even though that's not what it means. So after all of this thinking about how to tackle the next video chat and be ready with some questions and be ready to show her I was a good listener, taking into account what I knew about her culture and her life, I was ready for the second video chat with someone whom I hoped would become more than a friend. As was customary in new video chatmates protocol, I sent Lilette a message asking if I could video chat her again today, as it was the same time as yesterday. As prepared as I was for this call, I was not prepared for her response.
During the day, I am a working woman. Every night, when I'm done at work and I go home, I gave time to search a foreigners in dating site. I kept trying and trying to search. Too many foreigners in different age and countries. I have a standard in looking for a man. I know I'm not beautiful like others, I'm not rich. I'm a province girl who is searching my destiny, but I'm educated woman. I know what's best for me. I read carefully their profile, especially their jobs, if they own their own house, don't smoke, don't drink alcohol, if they are religious, no tattoos, and they are not dominant and gambling, and I read what they are looking for in a women's. As I kept go on in my search, I started chatting a man in United States, exchanging messages, asking about his job in America. Few minutes he started being away again, so I ignored him. I gave another try, still in America. At first he is sweet and kind, but I was wrong, he just want naked pictures. I don't want to be rude with a person, so I ignored them. I feel tired in my first night of search. But I enjoyed reading the profiles. My friend told me, if you keep searching, one day you can catch a good one. Just be patient. As my search go on, I felt I'm hopeless. I felt I don't have luck in Filipino men, even in foreigners, because foreign men's, mostly I chatted, are rude. They just want naked photos. I'm not a low-level woman. Too many sleepless nights I was still searching. Until one night, I saw a man living in Paris, France. He looks cute, handsome, having a good job, young man at around 43 of his age, very guapo man. I sent him a message. And we talked in Skype for 3 months. But it's very shaky because he's so rude. He like talking away again. When I am asking about his personal life, he don't like to share about it. He is moody, in short. Until he decided to come to the Philippines because of his work. I'm nervous, happy, I can't explain my feelings because it's my first time meeting a foreigner. But suddenly, he wants to meet me, but in hotel only. I asked him to meet my family, but he refused it. I tell him frankly, I can't meet you. I'm serious looking for marriage. I don't want to waste time meeting you if you are not serious with me. I did not message him anymore. I still continue my search every night. But too difficult to find a good one. But still hoping. One morning I browsed a little bit. Until I saw a man that is incredible photos, a man sitting on a big rock, and fishing in the river. I like his name too, Rob. I said, why not give a try, who knows he's going to message to an ugly Filipino woman because I changed my photos. I put pageant photos. Because they say, foreigners likes exotic beauty. My photos are all pageant, like an ugly duckling. I read his profile and I like it because at first he's a teacher, and I'm sure if one day he decided to visit me here in Philippines, he's going to understand my work because we are both teachers. Second, he own a house, goes to church, and he don't smoke. I sent a non-effort message, just simple hi. I was hoping he's going to message me back. I know it's very impossible he's going to message me back, for a thousands of women's joining in a site. Less chances of me. But then I was surprised he messaged me back. I was so happy, excited, it's mixed emotion. I messaged him back and started talking in the dating site. Asking him about his jobs and his personal life too. He talked good. I like talking to him. Every day we message, but still in doubt he is talking a lot of women's, I'm sure.
I was going to slow down, but at the same time, I was not going to make the mistakes I made earlier in this process. I had seen enough and I had learned enough to be somewhat knowledgeable in regards to how to communicate with a Filipina effectively. Or so I thought, because Lilette and I had a really good first conversation. I asked questions, I listened, I didn't interrupt, I kept eye contact, and I politely complimented her on her English and her hair. So I was quite sure that she would be just as excited to chat me as I was to chat her. Because before I saw her on video, I wasn't so excited. And before she ever saw me on video, she told me she liked me. So I was a bit dismayed when she messaged me back about my chat request and said, I'm busy. That was it. No other words. No context. What do you mean, you're busy? I was on my best behavior. I did everything right. I've become a student of the game. I'm interested now that I've seen her. She was already interested in me before she ever saw me. Oh no. I think I just stumbled upon the key factor. She liked me before she saw me. Maybe she had higher expectations based on the photos I posted online. I quickly opened up the dating app. I could still see my profile without paying. I was just limited to no communication, so I looked at my pictures to see where I could have deceived her. Not one female from around the globe last month indicated that I was catfishing with my pictures. I had posted 5 pictures, no filters, all taken within the last 4 months, and my face was clearly visible in all 5 photos. Where could I have gone wrong? Could I have aged so hideously in that 4 months that now my appearance is unacceptable to this dear, sweet woman? Okay, all right. Everyone just calm down. This isn't the end of the world. Maybe, just maybe, she actually was busy. There has to be a percentage chance that she really does have a job and a life and just couldn't chat right at that time. And she thought she used enough English to convey her point. I'm going to take that tact, and I just shot her a message saying, okay, thank you. Just let me know when you're free. In other news, my birthday was about a week away in late September, so I would be busy buying a fun dinner to prepare for my daughter and a couple of close friends on my special day. I'm about 2 months deep into this international dating odyssey, and I have kept everything a secret from my daughter and friends. I'm not ready to let the cat out of the bag quite yet because I found out about 3 weeks ago it can all blow up in a heartbeat. So I'm keeping a low profile until I think a trip to the Philippines is in order. 12 hours had gone by since my message to Lilette, and suddenly my phone is ringing, and it's Lilette calling without messaging first, which is pretty far out of bounds for a second video chat. I'm not sure how I feel about this latest development, so I decide to make a bold move.
Days goes by, we consistently talking my online chatmate Rob. As I remember, it was last week of August 2019. Until Rob asking me if I have a Facebook Messenger, and we talk there every day, knowing each other. While talking in Messenger every day, I still have doubt in him, thinking that he is talking too many women's. I don't have much interest with Rob. Rob sent me a message every day, but I'm so suspicious in my messages. As I always remember, I always ignored his messages. I always tell him I'm busy, I message you when I'm free, take care, bye. But Rob still sending me a message even I ignored him. I can tell, he is numb to me. He never feel I have interest in him. But then, one morning I sent him a morning greetings, and I was curious about his face, so I want to see him in video chat. So I tell him, can we have a video chat? Eventually he said yes. I feel nervous. He talked nicely, very manly, looking strict also, and I feel he has one word man. That was the start that we established a nice friendly relationship, and we talked every day. I enjoyed talking him every morning and every night. That was my routine every day, talking to Rob. He laughed at me when I tell him the man on the rock because I like that picture of him on dating app and attract me to send him hi in the site.
In the course of 12 hours, I had gone from thinking I'm Lilette's dream guy to wondering if she thinks my face is hideously disfigured to now she's ringing my video chat unannounced. Not being sure how to tackle this call without preparation to my ugly mug, I just answer the call and croak out a tentative hello. She begins with a somewhat strained hi. Immediately I'm on the defensive. Did she come here to mock me and block me? While I'm thinking about this ruining my mood for my birthday, she continues, sorry I couldn't chat. My family all came over with food and we celebrated my nephew's birthday, and I was too tired to talk, so I went to bed. Great! I am not hideously disfigured after all. She was just prioritizing spending family time over a random foreign chatmate. I can respect that. She asked about my day and wanted to know more about my birthday preparations. She asked, will you have a happy birthday banner and balloons? I replied, no, I'm not a child. I saw her face change from her usual smile to a closed-off look. I asked, why did you change your smile? She replied, in the Philippines, everyone gets a banner and balloons no matter your age. Well, now my personality is hideously disfigured. I try to recover with, I didn't know that. Here in the U.S., banners and balloons are generally reserved for small children. She thought that was kind of sad. I told her I would be grilling whole chickens and my daughter would make birthday cupcakes and my best friend Russ would bring potato salad and coleslaw and my good buddy Mitch could always be counted on to bring everyone's favorite beer from the local brewery. We would sit out on my back deck in the cool autumn air and maybe even start a fire in the fire pit after dinner and laugh and tell the same old stories we always tell. I told her my best friend Russ has been my closest friend for 20 years. I could count on him always. Even though he is 20 years my junior, he has always been there when I needed a hand and has been a good friend to my daughter as well. I explained that my good buddy Mitch is a hard-to-describe character until you get to know him personally. I've known Mitch for probably 15 years. He's a world traveler, younger than Russ, a businessman in the oil business, an entrepreneur, a good friend, and the best beer slinger I know. I spend most of my social time with my daughter and Mitch and Russ. My circle is small, but it is solid. Lilette enjoyed me telling her about my birthday plans, my daughter, and my close friends, and said it made her feel closer to me to know I would share this private part of my life with her. Her next question hit me out of the blue. I'm not so sure she will feel closer to me if I answer her truthfully, so I hemmed and I hawed and I changed the subject. I wasn't interested in hurting her feelings, so I turned my phone around and showed her my back deck and my grill and where I would be making my world-famous beer can chicken and my freshly refinished deck stained in a redwood color that popped. This got her off the scent of her question that I wouldn't answer at this stage of the game. Then I said my goodbyes and told her I would like to video chat again tomorrow if she had time. She agreed, and I wiped my brow as I nearly escaped with my reputation intact. I told you that I had 100% good intentions in this mission to find a mate, and all signs seemed to be pointing at least in the general direction of my friend turned love interest Lilette. So to give myself a better chance, I had been going to YouTube and devouring Philippines YouTube videos produced by Americans who I perceive to have vast experience on what to do and what not to do when in my chatting situation. I know there is somewhat of a language barrier, and as an American, I guess I fell into the trap of everywhere is like our country. That was my assumption, and I found out quickly I was wrong. I already know I can treat her with respect and kindness because being kind is an international language, but I needed to know the ins and outs of her culture to try to impress her and let her know I am making a Herculean effort to show her I care enough about our burgeoning relationship to put in the time to learn her culture. After all, 9 out of 10 Philippines YouTubers can't be wrong, Sarcasm. Some of the videos I watched seemed to be accurate. If they used facts and figures, I would cross-reference them on Google to said YouTuber's information and either continue to subscribe to him if true or cut him out of my daily viewing lineup if incorrect. Then there were the tubers who had headlines such as, "The 5 things you need to know before dating a Filipina. 10 ways to know if your LDR really likes you or she is a scammer. If your Filipina does this in public, she loves you." I gobbled it up, and I sparingly used some of this advice in our chats and then took note on how Lilette would react. Mostly she would smile when I got it right and correct me when I got it wrong, which was okay because I could blame it on YouTube. My hard work and preparation appeared to be working as Lilette was really taking a much bigger interest in me and my day-to-day goings-on, even going so far as to regularly say, "Be safe when you drive to work." This saying was usually number 3 on the top 5 ways to know your Filipina really likes you. YouTube got it right that time, so that was cool. The rest of the week came and went, and I had avoided the question the whole time, and it was now time for my small birthday celebration. It was the end of September 2019, and as I was getting a head start on food preparation on the deck, my daughter was busy icing the cupcakes, and Russ and Mitch were still about 30 minutes from arriving, so I took a break while it was still calm and video chatted Lilette without sending a message first. That was a pretty big step for me to take in the relationship. Lilette answered immediately and was very interested in seeing how an American spends their birthday, as opposed to what she sees in her country. So I tour the backyard and the deck and show her the chicken on the grill, but I hear Russ and Mitch pulling into the driveway 15 minutes early. I hear my daughter open the front door and hear them making their way to the deck, and I quickly exit my video chat and pretend everything is normal as the festivities fire up a little early. I was disappointed I had to cut my video call short, but I bought myself another day's reprieve from the question.
It was late September, Rob's birthday. I call him via video chat to greet him personally, asking about his birthday, the foods, his visitors. I want to know how they celebrate birthdays in America. Because in my poor life, I never experienced celebrating a nice birthday, yummy foods, wine in a round table, friends in my birthday, having gifts. I was so happy seeing him, he was happy in his birthday. I just imagine how nice to have a good birthdays every year like him. I really like him more and more, so I ask him about his friends.
I had a really good 56th birthday. I've never been one much to celebrate my own birthday, but it makes my daughter happy, and Russ and Mitch just really like my cooking, so everyone had a good time, myself included. I never really sleep past about 5 a.m., which at this time of year is 7 p.m. in the Philippines. Lilette would have went to church and had lunch with her extended family members and was now probably working on her lesson plans for school Monday. I rolled out of bed and into the shower, but not before checking my messages. There were 2 messages from Lilette. One was a GIF, GIF, of a teddy bear wishing me a happy birthday, and another one was more like a small music video with sunrises and happy animals and blossoming flowers and the such, with a song playing. I listened to the song, and I had never heard it before, and it was obviously a Filipina performer singing a love song. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a little early for a love song in this relationship. I felt flattered and uneasy all at the same time. Guess what? Number 2 on the 5 things you need to know before dating a Filipina was, they fall in love very quickly. We have been talking for 5 to 6 weeks by now, and things were going very smoothly. No arguments, no disagreements. So I was really settling into this habit of twice daily video chats. But if YouTube is correct, Lilette has either pressed the wrong song button. I mean, really, she could have been meaning to push the happy birthday song and didn't proofread her message. Or she possibly has already fallen in love with this cowboy, and I am not ready for that rodeo yet. So I shower and get some coffee and have a birthday cupcake from last night's birthday celebration for breakfast. And in the still early morning silence, I contemplate the meaning of her little video messages and try to come up with different ways to handle different scenarios for when I video chat her next. I'm starting to develop a strong attachment to Lilette. After all, she is sweet, kind, she's family-oriented, has no children, attends church, is easy on the eyes, educated, and is good at English. But she lives 9,000 miles away, and I have not seriously considered going there to meet her, let alone even started saving for such an involved trip. If you start talking about taking a trip that far, you are making a very bold statement, and it says, I'm going to the Philippines to finalize this deal we're working on, and I'm on my way to make my destiny happen. Those are very bold words that require an iron constitution and decisive action, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just not there yet. Someday I may be there. Actually, I hope to be there one day. But with this distance, there is absolutely no way to know for sure until you actually touch each other in person. And if she knew my answer to the question, I'm quite sure she will not want to touch me in person. Things are progressing nicely with Lilette. Every morning and every evening we video chat. We are learning more and more about each other as the days go by. One particular day, I was video chatting her on the back deck, which is my usual safe spot, so my daughter and my friends couldn't sneak up on me and catch me in the act. The fact of the matter was, I was embarrassed. I knew what they would say. My friends are merciless when it comes to finding an opening to mock me. They would cut quickly and they would cut deeply. No taunt in poor taste was off limits. How do I know this? Because I'm the same way with them. Making fun of each other was our love language. And boy, are they good at it. So I had to be stealthy because for sure they would call me crazy, for starters. Then move on to, why can't you find a woman in your own country? Are you getting a mail order bride? She is using you for a green card. She just wants to get here and then leave you and find a younger guy. She's only with you for your money, etc., etc., etc. I was 80% sure none of these things were what this sweet, kind woman was about. So to answer your question, what was her question that was so dire? She asked me, have you told your friends about me yet? I couldn't bring myself to answer honestly and risk hurting her feelings. I felt bad. I felt like I was hiding her. And she was right. I was hiding her. But I couldn't risk the verbal flogging I would receive, especially if this didn't work out or if they happened to be correct. So I just kept changing the subject whenever she brought it up. On this current video chat, I was eating some snacks left over from my birthday celebration, and she would ask me what I was eating. It was a small tube of hot peanuts. She said that looks masarap, and she said, can you send me those? She giggled afterwards, so I assumed she was being silly. Later in the conversation, I also ate some gummy bears. She asked, what are those? I explained gummy bears to her, and again she said, can you send me? Again she giggled, so again I brushed it aside. This happened at other times as well. If I was taking a snack break at work, always, can you send me? And then a giggle. So after I knew she was asleep, I sent her a message and asked for her address. I didn't give her a reason. I just asked because I thought it would be a funny surprise to send her hot peanuts and gummy bears in the mail. After I got off work and she was rising for work and messaged me back her address, something was amiss. For the first time, I felt like I might be being scammed. This isn't her address. Does she think I'm stupid? Or worse, were my delusional thoughts about what my friends might say be true?
I am asking his favorite snacks. I told him, can you send me some of your favorite snacks? I was so curious because honestly I never had that in my younger days. We are too poor at that time. But asking him it's all about joke. I know he's not wasting time and money for spending that crazy little snacks. But before I slept, he is asking my house address. I already had a doubt again, maybe he is scammer. Maybe a bad guy. I had to be careful in this man. I'm sure he is scammer. He is trying to be nice with me. Until I decided, why not give a try to send my address, maybe he's a good Samaritan. So, I gave my school address.
I have watched so many YouTube videos with the title, How to Know If Your Filipina is a Scammer. I feel like an expert. So when Lilette sent me her mailing address, a red flag went up immediately because she sent me an address to an elementary school. That hit me as odd, so I looked up the school and the address on the internet, and sure enough, it was the school she has worked at for 14 years. So with a little trepidation, I stopped by the convenience store on my way to work and bought a couple of tubes of hot peanuts, a bag of gummy worms, a bag of Three Musketeers bars, some Mentos, Chico sticks, and a couple of photos from my summer vacation with my family so she could feel more at ease by seeing something tangible in her hands that is personal to me. I found a box that was about the size of a children's shoebox, and I loaded up that box and wrapped it in printer paper. On my way home, I stopped at the post office, and the lady behind the counter helped me fill out the customs form in quadruplicate with eyes full of judgment. Sorry, lady, you had your chance. I'm international now. Which I only thought, I did not say. The box was sitting at 2 pounds 15 ounces and would cost $27 to ship $8 worth of snacks to the elementary school in Manila. I took a picture of the customs receipt and sent it to her via messenger. It was about 5 a.m. there, so I was sure she was not awake yet. I went about my usual after-work household business. At that time, I lived in the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma, in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a 2-car garage and a small yard. It was really way more house than I needed at this point, and not near enough garage for my hobby of rebuilding vintage campers. So I begun planning selling this house and building a small retirement house with a big shop on some land outside of the city and into the country. I take a break when Lilette calls me in the morning. I'm hoping this small gesture will make her happy.
When I woke up in my morning, I was surprised he sent me a picture of a receipt in a postal office. I don't know if I will be happy or nervous. I don't know if it is true. But when we talk in video chat, I say thank you and wait until the package arrives here in Philippines. But deep inside, I'm happy because he's making an effort sending that box. Hopefully it's not a joke. It was November 2019, the post office delivered a parcel from United States. I was so excited for the box. I'm happy also because he never lied to me. When I received the box, I rushed home and opened it. My family all gather round and are more excitement than even me. When I open, I see snacks. I say send to me. His box is just like what I think Christmas would be. My little nieces and nephews want to try sour worm and my mom and sisters want to try chocolate. I save hot peanuts for me and take pictures up to my room to chat Rob. That time, I was thinking maybe this man is good person. I started to keep chatting on him every morning, every night. It could be my daily routine chatting him every day. I never forget saying good morning when I woke up. We had set a time to have a video call. My feelings changed for him. Day by day I feel comfortable talking with him. Telling about my crazy life before and now. Until another receipt of box he sent me the next month. I'm not asking anything from him, but he did. Of course I am happy for that. But 2 months he is sending me a surprise box. I was thinking, this how he is getting my feelings to make him close and more comfortable to me. All this chatting and 2 boxes, he never asked me nude photos, he respect me of who I am. He makes me proud of him. So, we continued talking. We enjoyed each other every day, sharing our thoughts in life. The next box was even better. As we continued talking day by day, I feel very comfortable talking with him. If I asked him about his life, he shared to me. I asked about his past life, about his daughter, and his job. He told me everything. I was thinking so many times that I want to tell my life because I don't want that he's expecting me too much. If one day he's going to visit me, I tell him, I'm just an ordinary woman who lives in a province and moved here in Manila last 2003 for finding a job. I tell him how life is hard in province. Rain or shine, we harvested a lemon juice, string beans, and cucumber to sell it in the market Saturday and Sunday. Me and my mom had slept over in the market during Saturday to have early market to sell vegetables. The hardest part is when I'm going to school in my college. I had 100 pesos allowance for the whole week. I had one school uniform and one pants and maybe had 4 shirts in whole week. I hand washed in sink and wear clothes every day because not machines where we are. And one pair of school shoes. Hard, but I don't care. I enjoyed my days with my friends at school. I never tried eating Jollibee or McDonald's. I do not know about Jollibee burger in my college day. I know it's embarrassing story because my life is so poor. I know Rob has a good life in America. Rob doesn't had an experience like me. As we always talked every day. A month later he's sending me again a box. I was so excited every time he has a surprise for me. I kept asking what's inside. He always telling me I forget. When I received the box and opened it was an expensive shoes. I almost cried because this is the first time I can wear an expensive shoes. There was some peanuts, chocolates and jelly A's. It was very unforgettable experience I had. Before in I had window shopping only and looking for a nice shoes but I can't buy. When I was young jelly A's is my favorite because it's colorful but I don't have 1 peso. It's my first time to receive an expensive shoes with my favorite color. I never had this before in my younger days. I'm using slipper at my grade school. My slipper before is Spartan. I use a banana leaf for umbrella when it is raining. I never had experienced that someone is giving me a shoes. I'm so glad having a Nike shoes for the first time. I don't know what's inside the mind of Rob, maybe he felt pity with my life experiences. That's why he tried to send me some things that I never had before. I told him why you bought an expensive shoes for me. He answered, let me enjoy buying things for you. I know it's expensive. Maybe he feel pity with me. I was happy and thankful to Rob because he provided me a things I don't have before.
I had a gift card to a sporting goods store for my birthday, so I went to buy some new wrestling shoes as I am not only a teacher, but also a high school wrestling coach. The season had already been running, so the shoes were on sale, and right next to that sale rack was the female shoes on sale. I had asked Lilette her shoe size in passing weeks before to be prepared for this opportunity. I quickly called my daughter and asked her how women's sizes correlated to children's sizes since it is the same shoe, just cheaper. I found a pair of children's pink, Lilette's favorite color, Nike running shoes marked down to $30. That was really more than I wanted to spend, especially with shipping being added on, but it was getting close to Christmas, and I am beginning to understand how Lilette grew up in poverty and now lived a very Spartan existence, but yet she was always happy. And to see the sheer joy in her eyes was certainly worth the $50 I was going to put out. Until that is, Lilette sends up a giant red flag.
As we continued talking with Rob, I was thinking he is a good foreigner. Because he never asked me nude photos or being bastos to me. All he is showing me is being good and respectful man. I have a close friend at school. I decided to share about my online chatmate. I tell her everything about Rob. My friend advises me to be careful and not to trust easily because he is a foreigner and maybe is he pretending a good guy but he is bad in their country, especially that I am not seeing him in person. Maybe my friend has some point also. It's easy to be good online. Sometimes, I ask myself, why he is so good and nice to me. I never asked him anything such as any materials things but he provided me by sending a box every month. I try also to open my situation into my family. Everybody was shocked. But same advices with my friend. Every day when I talk with Rob, I am happy. Every day happy, I am always looking forward that I can't miss talking with him. And I was wishing hopefully, one day I hug in person, hopefully he will decided to meet me in person, hopefully he will like me, hopefully he will accept me as who I am, hopefully he will marry me. I have lot of hopes every day, every night. But I'm sure it's too impossible because he's living far away and he never talked about visiting here in the Philippines. But I care about him, I care about our friendship. But I don't know if Rob cares me too, and while we are talking I sleep up and tell too much.
Things are really progressing nicely with Lilette. She is a great conversationalist. She always has a question or a story about her day or her life. I find her stories about her life surviving poverty conditions extremely fascinating. Just to live under those conditions and still have a hopeful view of the future and still be kind and sweet says a lot about her character. I have to be careful because it makes me want to send more boxes and even some money to help ease her money woes. But if nothing else, YouTube has taught me to never, and I mean never, send money to someone you have never met in person. There are multitudes of train wreck stories where guys send up to $1,000 US or more monthly to help the Filipina's family and to start buying some land and build a small house for them to retire in the Philippines together. And when the foreigner shows up, there's nobody there to pick him up at the airport, and the address is the 7-Eleven in Manila. I 100% understand both sides. A, don't send money. B, I have a little money to waste. But if I never set foot into Lilette's life, I have brought her joy with a small amount of candies and doodads, and the feeling I get is well worth the postage. I will heed YouTube's advice and not send money, but I keep expecting that her demands for money will soon come forth. But back to chatting with Lilette. We are chatting twice a day every day, and not so long after I sent her the nice pink tennis shoes, she is expressing her gratitude for always being respectful and for taking time to brighten up her life once a month with a box. And she thinks very highly of me, and she loves me. Rewind that. She says she loves me. I am well aware that Filipinas fall in love fast and hard, but I must take a stand right here, right now.
As we talk every day, we feel very comfortable to each other. But still we are not quitting our account in the dating app. One time, when I opened my account in app 1 saw Rob online there. I feel bad with him and jealous thinking he's still searching for a Filipina, he has many girls. I asked him, why you are online in dating app? He answered me, I was checking my mail. But I'm sure he's liar. Some men's want more women's so they can choose the best one. He is same with my ex-Filipino boyfriend. Anyway, that's fine, he don't have responsibility to me. He's not my boyfriend. We are online friends. I'm about to give up in my search because I feel I'm not lucky in foreigner or even Filipino. I was trying hard searching for a foreigner. So many sleepless nights for searching, but days are too much unfair for me. My age 37 in Philippines is older. It's already an old maid. I feel insecurities in myself. I have a good job, a house, but something missing in my life. Mostly men's in Philippines like white complexion Filipina. It's very attractive here. Brown is not attractive. My color is brown. I don't have a Filipino boyfriend. I don't know why, maybe because I'm brown, not attractive. I don't want to try again a relationship with a Filipino, especially at age 37. I was hoping I can catch a foreign man before I get 40. I was also hoping when I reach 40, I'm walking in the aisles wearing a white pretty wedding gown with a butterfly in a nice garden and my future man waiting me there to hold my hands. Every time we go to Divisoria, I saw a lot of beautiful wedding gowns, and I started thinking when I can fit this gown. When I can wear this gown? Maybe not. I think it's just a dream. Mostly 25 years old is marrying age here in Philippines. I know Rob was there but still we don't have label in our relationship. Everyday talking, sharing our thoughts and once in our life but no label. Then he scolds me for say I love you. I feel bad. Filipina fall fast. I'm more discouraged now. On the next day, while we are talking in my morning, I was not expecting he's going to talk about our account in the dating app. He is telling me he's going to close his account and focus talking with me. I do know if I'm going to be happy or sad because I'm sure he's still talking with someone else. But I'm hoping he's not lying. It's easy to say but hard to do it. I don't want to lose Rob. I'm happy with him.
I felt bad for reading Lilette the riot act over saying she loves me, but I had to nip it in the bud. It's not that I don't have feelings for her on some level, it's just saying those words are pretty big and carry a lot of responsibility. I said, don't say that. We haven't met in person. I don't know if we ever will, but you cannot make that kind of promise without meeting in person. I think it hurt her feelings, but she understood, and she still called me the next day. Hopefully it didn't drive her back to the dating site. I don't feel like spending another $30 in 2 months of my life there. Some tough decisions need to be made.
As we go further as an online friends, I share Rob my childhood memories. As a young kid in a province, it's a funny moment. Why I share? It's because it's fun to remember. It's a night about 7 p.m., me and my sister M went to Barrio to buy a tuba. Tuba is a cheap coconut wine because my father drink it every night. Tuba is 2 pesos for 1 small liter. Our house is far distance from the barrio. We had 1 peso coin left in my hands. Me and my sister decided to buy a Ribisco biscuit with chocolate filling. It's yummy for us already, for those poor kids like me. Too dark in the street. Most houses there don't have an electricity. That was year 1989. I am in grade 1 at that time. Only few buses, cars, tricycles gives us light in the street when it passes by. While we are walking in the street, we saw a big dark man. We are so scared and walk too fast. Until we run faster because we are so scared, I drop my Ribisco biscuit in the poo of the Carabao. I stopped running and I go back my way and get the Ribisco biscuit even it's already in the center of poo. Because if I don't get it, I don't have Ribisco biscuit anymore and I do know when I can have 1 peso again. When we got home, I washed it with water. And I open it and I eat. My sister laughed at me because I dropped my biscuit at the Carabao poo. I know it's funny and yucky but it's not dirty because it was sealed. When I 7-year-old, my favorite is Jelly Ace because it has different colors but I can't buy it. It's 1 peso and 25 cents. The Tindera told me only rich kid can buy it. It hurts my feelings because I want to buy Jelly Ace but I can't. Jelly Ace looks yummy. When I got a job, I have a monthly salary. Jelly Ace is in my bucket list. Until now Jelly Ace is my favorite. Most of my friends laughed at me because I'm like a kid. Maybe Rob also is laughing secretly while I'm sharing my funny, yucky moments. When I was in grade 2, I'm about to go home from school. While I'm walking, I saw a clubhouse cracker in street. It's not dirty because still sealed. I get it and bring home. There are a lot of students walking in the street at that time. But I did not have any hesitation to get it. I ate it and shared my sisters. My mom asked me, "Where did you get money to buy a cracker?" I told my mom, "I just saw it in the street. I did not steal it. Maybe this is for me. Maybe someone dropped it." My reason is I want to eat those foods I can't eat in my younger days because of my poverty life. Anyway, whatever they think, whatever they say, that's okay. Everybody has different experiences in life. But all of this giving me strength and hope in my life. I don't know what Rob thinks of me. Every month Rob sent me a box. I liked when Rob sent me a box. It's very surprising and exciting. Those things he sent me, for me it's expensive, but I'm thankful for him. I'm happy talking with him.
One of my favorite things about Lilette is that she will randomly start telling me a story from when she was a small child in the province. By now I know she grew up dirt poor but happy. She will tell me a story that should make her cry, but she always ends up laughing and happily remembering her simple life in the province. She will sit on the phone for 20 minutes talking as if she is in the province right then and there, and it makes me feel somehow closer to her. I just stare at her on the screen and get lost in her story, and it is in that moment when I can understand how some of my countrymen want to ride in like a white knight and rescue these damsels in distress with their money. It is impossible for me to reach out and give her a hug. We are separated by 9,000 miles. But your feelings are developing and you have no tangible way to express them, so whip out the wallet. But I know better. Or do I?
After, I shared my past life to Rob. Asked him also about his job in America. While I'm listening him, I was thinking how I wished I can be there soon. Everybody dreams to come America. But it's impossible for me. Sometimes, I teach Rob a little bit of Tagalog words like dog, pretty, ugly, yes, no. It's too funny to teach him because he learned faster. Every day we have a lot of fun while talking. After a while, he sent me another box. I was surprised again. He is doing it every month. I think maybe he do like me, maybe love me like I do him, but he is not brave enough to say it to me. Why else would a Kano after 5 months of talking online? Because we are always happy and comfortable to each other. Rob surprised me. He told me, "I will come and meet you in person there in Philippines next year 2020 of March." I was overwhelmed, mixed emotion, I do know what to say. Finally, I will meet him in person. My mind was so much of thinking. I finally judge him in person. If he's respectful with me and my family. But I gave him a lot of rules before he can book a flight. Number 1 rule, make sure I'm the only Filipina you're going to meet here in Philippines. 2, I will pick you at the airport when you arrive. 3, stay here in my house. 4, meet my family. 5, respect my family. 6, go to church when I go to church too. 7, no sex in the first meeting, especially if you don't propose me. 8, don't ask me to sleep in your room. 9, don't act being marked. 10, I don't have money to treat you. 11, don't expect that my house is big and beautiful. He agreed all the rules. I know it's too many, but I have to be wise too. It's my loss if I'm not going to use my mind. I learned my past relationship with Filipino man before, I don't want to hurt anymore. So many years, I suffered from heartache and never tried another chance of having a relationship with my same culture Filipino. Before I slept, I was praying hopefully this man will be my forever. Hopefully he's a good foreigner. It doesn't matter if he's not a super rich. The most important is love, respect, understanding, loyal and faithful. I'm so glad and starting counting the months. I have so much of hopes.
I am really starting to fall hard for Lilette. I'm very sure she is genuine to her word, and she is how she presents herself. So I decided to float the idea of a short visit over spring break. It is just November now, so that leaves 3 months to still talk and nail down some plans and even negotiate her long list of demands for me when and if I arrive at the airport in Manila. I'm only planning on staying 9 days, so I feel like I can meet all of her demands except one. She wants me to stay in her tiny house with 3 other people, and although I know that it is culturally appropriate there for multiple generations to live in the same small house, I'm not traveling 9,000 miles in an airplane for 25 hours to be uncomfortable the whole time and not get to know her one-on-one. I'm more than happy to spend time with her family. I'm interested to see how they treat me as a reflection of how Lilette may treat me when the honeymoon is over. I tell her my concerns and I counter with, I will arrive on Saturday. I will sleep there and meet your family until Monday. If everything goes well, I want us to go to Tagaytay and stay there in a hotel and have some experiences in your country alone so that I can see the real you and you can get to see the real me. She agreed to my terms under one condition. I answer her long-standing question. Does your family and close friends know about me? Therein lies the problem. I go online to a travel booking site to try and find out about a round-trip ticket from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Manila, Philippines. Now, mind you, I have traveled a lot. I know the ins and outs of airline travel and booking a stay at a hotel and sightseeing during the past 30 years, and I already have my passport. However, I am a little nervous about international travel, so I put my dates and times in the trip generator and it spits out several flights ranging from $1,750 for a 30-hour flight to $3,300 for a 21-hour flight. I end up choosing a flight that leaves Tulsa on Friday morning and lands in Manila at 10 p.m. Saturday night. You have to account for the 14-hour time change, otherwise it's a total of 24-hour flight, including layovers for customs. It is approximately 1.5 hours to Houston, change planes, and then a 15-hour flight to Seoul, South Korea. Change planes, and then one more 5-hour flight to Manila. I have never been on a plane longer than 5 hours before. I'm not sure how I'm going to pass the time. I could sleep on a plane, just not for 15 hours. Heck, I can't even sleep in a bed past 7 hours. So I book a window seat so that I can lean against the window and eliminate anybody touching me and disturbing me, all to the tune of $2,225. Now I have just one more job to do. I must explain myself to my daughter, Russ, and Mitch. They are going to beat me to death with all the typical jokes. Couldn't you find a woman here? Are you passing out green cards? What will you do when she gets here and leaves you for a younger, better-looking guy? How's the mail order bride catalog this season? I'm not looking forward to the treatment from Russ and Mitch. Furthermore, my daughter has been sitting next to me for years watching 90 Day Fiancé as we both mock all of the couples and their shortcomings. I'm sure she will be totally disappointed in me. So here goes nothing.
As Rob decided to visit and meet me in person here in the Philippines next year, March 2020. It makes me so exciting and happy. Finally, we are meeting in person. Since that I don't have an idea how to treat a foreign man or dated a foreign man. I was starting watching YouTube to get some ideas how to date a foreign man. I got a lot of ideas. It helps me a lot. I can't wait meeting him in person. I thought I was still dreaming and hopefully I will not to woke up in my dream. I feel like a star in the sky shining so brightly. My mind smiled a lot with joy. I just remember when I was a little girl in the province. That every night in our terrace, we look up the sky in the night and counting the stars 100 and make a wish. Old belief says, your wish granted. And when the stars will fall down, you will make a wish. I think, if I look up the sky with so many stars and I will make a wish. But that wish of mine is granted. I have full of joy. I told my family about Rob's upcoming visit. Some of my sisters are excited, some did not. They scared to meet a stranger and he will sleep in our house. One sister scared he will kill all of us when we sleep because they not know his character. I never think of that. I was in positive mind that he's a good man.
I am beyond the point of no return. My passport is updated. My ticket to the Philippines is paid for. My accommodations in Tagaytay are paid for. I even got a double room to help Lilette feel comfortable and trust my good intentions. It is still about 3 months from departure, but I must find a way to ease into telling everyone about this secretive relationship I have gotten myself into. I must reveal my future plans with Lilette, and more importantly, be ready for the barrage of insults and mocking that is about to be hurled my way. My circle is very small, but it is very close. So nothing is off limits in our family when it comes to life-changing decisions that seem to come out of nowhere. And honestly, as I practice my delivery, I'm wondering if I'm not making a giant mistake. My significant other picking has been a disaster here in the States, so why would I think I could go halfway across the world and pick the perfect woman for me on my first trip with 5 months of communication in the books? Face it, goof, this is ridiculous. But here goes nothing. It's evening time and I walk into the kitchen where my daughter is prepping her dinner. We are very close. We share our thoughts and concerns with each other every day just to stay connected, and for 5 months I have kept this giant secret from her. I'm quite sure she will be devastated that I didn't keep her in the loop or that I didn't ask her advice, as this life-changing event will very much affect her life as well. I open up with, "So you know how our show 90 Day Fiancé?" She says, "Of course." I say, "Well, I've been talking to a woman from the Philippines for about 5 months, and I have bought a ticket to go visit her over spring break." She looks me dead in the eye. I cringe because I already am ashamed that I'm ruining her life, and she says, "I thought something was going on." Good for you. I hope she will be nice to you. What the heck? That's it? Well wishes? No harassment? I guess I raised her right. Russ, on the other hand, will not be so cavalier. Russ still hits me with the amount of money my divorce 15 years ago cost me just so he can end any argument he is losing. So I guess I will go take my beating. Russ comes over the next evening to use my garage and tools, and I muster the courage to walk out there as he is finishing up, and I just blurt out, "I've been on an international dating site for 5 months. I've met a really nice woman from the Philippines, and I'm going to fly there in March to meet her." I then brace for full impact. I look him in the eye to let him know I'm serious, and he smugly says, "About time." Wow. That's the best you've got? You have so much ammunition, and that's all you've got? He continues, "You have given it a real and honest effort here. I don't blame you. Hope it works out." Well, okay. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment, but I call my brother in Ohio because he is always my voice of reason. I tell him straight out, and he says, "That's cool. I'm on another call. Talk to you later." Well, I'll be damned.
Rob finally decided to book a plane ticket last December 2019 to get ready his flight on March. Both of us are feeling happy and nervous. Every day Rob is my inspiration and my hope for a better life. I told my friend at school about Rob's upcoming visit. My friend was so happy and excited for me. I tell her, finally I'm going to meet a Kano. I'm hoping he will like me and marry me soonest. But I don't know about my eldest sister if she's happy or scared about Rob's plan to come in the Philippines. She asked me, where does Rob stay when he arrived? How long he stayed here in the Manila? She's scared because he is a stranger. Maybe Rob will eat all our food and complain about culture. Maybe he is a bad guy. I was a little upset, but I said, maybe he is not like that. He has a daughter that waits him in America. He is a teacher, and I'm sure if he's doing bad in our country, he's going to jail. I let my sister calm down. I want them to be happy with me. And I want to be happy also. I was waited so long, and this is it. I was ready meeting him in person. I prepared myself, my house, my room. But my room is not a 5-star room, no air condition. I tell him about our tradition that you have to remove your shoes in the door and leave it, and many others he must follow.
I have got what I thought would be the worst of it out of the way. I told my family what I was secretively planning, and miraculously they were on board. This really gave me a lot of encouragement, and I spent the next week detailing my international dating adventures to them, and they really did find it interesting. So things were looking up for this world traveler. The next couple of months flew by, and as March 10th approached, I became a little more nervous for my trip. Lilette and I only grew closer and closer over the video chats, and we were making plans for our day-to-day experiences in her country. She tried to school me on her culture and some things to expect that would be different over here. For example, you cannot count on there being toilet paper in every restroom. Not that they run out. It's just not the way we do it. Isn't necessarily the way they do it. Although I took her word for it, I still ate up every Philippines YouTube video I could find, especially the ones that were at certain places I would be visiting so that I could get a feel for the local culture. Also, I really got lost in the videos about common scams in the Philippines. Apparently, transportations and taxis and tricycles is the hotbed of cheat the foreign tourist scams. I would have to be on my guard.
All the rules and traditions I tell him, he was agree. I can't believe Rob agree all the rules I want when he arrived here in my house. But of course I have to be vigilant also because maybe he is pretending to obey my rules, but in his side maybe he don't like it. I know he's American and he is educated man, he has a pride too being professional. He has a lot of experience in his life compared to me. I'm sure he's wiser than me. It's already March, so I was so nervous because 10 days from now on he's coming here in my country. I don't have a good sleep thinking of him. My family is also nervous. Same feeling with me. Everything was ready in the house like his room where he slept. I make sure it's clean, pillow is new, bedsheet also, and fan is clean, and no cockroaches. I put sprays in every corner to make sure no small and big cockroaches. Maybe my American visitor will run away from this room. I wipe the windows and cabinets, make sure no dust. So he can't get allergies or skin rashes. I was worried in our ceiling because it's already damaged. Every night there was small rats running in the ceiling. Sometimes, I feel the ceiling almost broke down. I'm sure he can't sleep good, or maybe he will be scared, or maybe he will think I'm too poor. I also clean the bathroom, the door, the floor. The bathroom don't have a hot water. I also clean the kitchen. But I don't have a coffee maker. It's only a teapot to heat water. I'm sure he will feel cold in our shower. But even we don't have a nice quality of house, I make sure everything was clean. I'm sure Rob has a lot of experiences in my house while he stays here. I'm sure he will learn Filipino life soon.
I was so excited to travel to the Philippines and meet in the flesh the person whom I hoped would be the one to lead to my companion for the rest of my life. I will admit that although I never said I love you to Lilette, and I never allowed her to say it to me again, I told her that I had a very strong emotional attachment to her that I hoped would reveal itself as love when we meet at the airport. I even went so far as to look up the difference between the K1 fiancé visa and the CR1 spousal visa. I did not buy an engagement ring, but the thought did cross my mind. Our chats were getting much more serious as we led up to March 10th, both really wanting to say I love you, but both following the rules set forth. Really, I just didn't want to set the expectations too high. If we discuss love and possible marriage and then I get there and she has bad breath, how am I going to not crush her hopes and dreams? I even told her if we spend the first 2 days at your house and you don't like me, just tell me. It's better to know right then than to draw it out and make mistakes we will regret. I will leave your house calmly and politely and go to Tagaytay myself and try not to waste seeing this beautiful country. She hated it when I said that. I think she is already picking out wedding dresses and choosing reception colors, if I'm to be honest. But we came to an understanding that left both of us a graceful exit should one be needed. On the other hand, Lilette is making her plans to get a driver to take her on the 2-hour trip to the airport, pick me up, and take us back to her place. YouTube says this is a big red flag no-no. Apparently, if a Filipina picks you up at the airport, you will never get out of her sight, and you have just closed all your options on day one. I know I was going against conventional wisdom by not interviewing several women in person, but I felt like I had already done that online, and I was beyond that. So, sorry YouTubers, I've got it from here. I did something I normally don't do, and that is pack my bag 4 days early. I think it was a combination of nervous energy and wanting to be thorough in my packing. I didn't want to leave anything here that I would need there, especially if it is something they don't have there. I called and told Lilette that I was packed and I had all my travel documents handy, and she was more concerned if I had packed hot peanuts and 3 Musketeers bars than if I misplaced my passport. The next day, I got off work and went home to recheck my packed bags and my travel documents. I had a travel update from United Airlines and Expedia, both of which I signed up for. The travel update said there was a virus running rampant, especially in Asia, and the airlines in the country were shut down immediately. Please tap here to begin your paperwork for your refund.
I am so excited that the man I love is going to be leaving his country to come here for only me. Then we get bad news. The government its lockdown in the Philippines. It was March 8th, almost the day of his flight here in Philippines. Early morning here in Manila, and it's nighttime in America. He called me before he go bed and he told me he was ready to fly here. I was so excited that finally 2 days he will be here in Manila and the long wait over. After an hour, I think it was 10 a.m. in my time, he called me again to inform that his flight is cancelled due to lockdown. That was very sad news for me. I thought I can see him soon, but we can't. 8 months of waiting just to see in person, but it was cancelled due to pandemic. Both of us are sad. Rob got refund in his plane ticket and his hotel. I hope he will still chat me and wait out pandemic, but he seems so disappointment and I can hear in his voice he will give up.
After my 5 months of planning and strategizing the rest of my life, the rug was unceremoniously ripped up from under me. And to be honest, I'm not so sure I want to continue to put in the work anymore. I certainly don't want to start over, but man, this just seems like Cupid is giving me a slap right in the face to wake me up. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this is a good thing because Lilette would have been a bad thing. But realistically, I don't think any less of Lilette than I had before, but I am just so disappointed and let down that I don't have any gas left in the tank to continue. It was easy when it was happening. Everything was building on top of each conversation we would have. We had a goal. We had something in common to chase as a team that made it exciting. I'm a goal-oriented individual, and having an attractive, sweet woman alongside me striving for that goal was very sexy, and I couldn't wait to meet her. But all of that's over now. There's no telling how long this lockdown will last. It could be 3 weeks, or it could be 3 years. We have no frame of reference, and I'm considering not calling Lilette at my appointed time and just letting this slowly fade into the background. I feel like an athlete who had trained all their life for the Olympics, and my country just boycotted the games. What am I supposed to do? Wait 4 years for another opportunity? I think not. It's time to move on.
After he called me that his flight in Philippines was canceled due to pandemic, I was very disappointed and sad. I thought I can't touch him in person. I also told my family that Rob can't be here in Manila anymore because of pandemic. They feel sad and tell me maybe you and Rob is not destined for each other because of pandemic. I don't want to believe it. I know Rob is for me. I really missed him. I feel I have a strong feelings with him. I thought my family did not understand my feelings because they are not in my situation. We talked 8 months. We make plans. My family not looking my happiness. I think they want me to be caregiver to my mom only, and maybe because Rob has different culture with us, I think they scared of him. I just keep silent and I go to my room so sad. I hug the pillows and blanket and ask, why does it happen to me? Why does the time is so unfair to me? I have so much of questions. I feel that I will losing Rob and my only chance to married.
The world is a scary place right now. Conflicting information, people dying, complete countries shut down. I see what is happening and I understand one thing. I got this close. This close to what could have been my one last shot at true happiness. I put in the effort. I put in the time. I was as fair as I could be. This teacher woman seemed to be perfect for me, but now I'm tired. The world shut down, and I'm too wore out to reopen my little piece of that world that I share with Lilette. Let's face facts. I've been jaded for a long time when it comes to relationships with the opposite sex, and this situation is not helping in the least. I am not at all interested in the pandemic. Actually, I'm pissed at the pandemic. How dare you take the one good, honest woman that I have had in my life and keep her from me. As I say that, I know how callous that sounds, to worry about a long-distance relationship with a woman I've never met in person, as people are literally dying all around me. But that is how serious I was about this mission, and now mission fatigue has set in, and I'm afraid the mission is over. We have no idea how long this pandemic is going to last. It could be 3 months, could be 3 years, but who knows? There's one thing I do know for sure. I'm sure as shooting not sitting in front of the computer, being a chapmate to a woman I've never met for however many months or years it takes. I'm finished. I quit. I'm not making any more twice-a-day awkward video chats, and you can take that to the bank.
I don't want to lose Rob. He is such a good man and he respect me. I did my best to be good woman to him, even if only online. I don't want to give up on him because of pandemic. We had a very nice attachments every day for 8 months. I feel he's tired and sad. I feel he want to give up on me. I know he feel for me how I feel for him. My family say just let him go. There is no future with pandemic. Just give up on your dream of a husband and your dream of America. You should stay here and care for our mom. We have husbands. You have care for our mom. It will be your role in the family. I stay silent from respect for my eldest sister, but I want to scream at them all. What about me? What about my feelings? You all have husband. Why I can't have husband? I run to my room and slam door and call Rob, but he not answer. I do not have much faith in my future. As I cry, I pray for God to let me stay with Rob no matter what this pandemic brings.
I'm finished. I quit. I'm not making any more twice-a-day awkward video chats, and you can take that to the bank. Well, apparently the bank was closed as well, and I ate every single one of those words. As it turns out, I was much more attached to Lilette than a guy who is in a relationship with a chatmate should be. As the pandemic carried on, most everything stayed shut down, and it was a bit scary. Too many unknowns, but what I did know for sure was Lilette loved me. Even though I wouldn't let her say it, she loved me. And she was willing to call me every day, twice a day, and keep me connected. She really put in the work. I'm really not one to talk on the phone too long just because I don't care much for small talk. Just get to the point and let me hang up.
After 2 years of talking online because it's pandemic, our relationship was getting stronger. I did my best to save our relationship. I feel he did same way with me. But sometime, I feel scared and nervous that one day when I woke up he's gone because he gave up our relationship. Nobody knows when this pandemic will be over. Everybody are using internet by means of communication to connect their loved ones, international or local. In my heart I feel too sad, but every time we talk I always pretend I'm strong and not affected. I always encourage myself to be more stronger. I won't let him give up on me.
Fortunately for me, Lilette was a great conversationalist, and she always had a story to tell me about her day or ask me something about my culture or tell me something about how she envisioned our future together, which honestly made me love her. I'm not allowed to say it because we have not met in person, and it has been almost 2 years since we have been talking, and at this rate, we may never meet. So no I love yous were spoken. I am a teacher, and our schools have been shut down this whole time, so I've kept myself busy with a home builder friend designing my retirement home on some property I bought. Construction would start soon, and to prepare for that, I had time before I sold my current house in town to rip out both bathrooms and remodel them, as well as a cosmetic remodel on the kitchen. I also went to the local park nearly every day with Russ or Mitch to hike and stay in shape. So between all that and Lilette, I was keeping my mind occupied, but a man can only go so long without the soft, warm touch of a loving woman, and therein lies the problem. Lilette and I are approximately 2 solid years into our long-distance relationship at this point. Late summer of 2021, and she is surpassing my expectations every month that goes by. You have to understand that the only shared experience that we have is talking on video. Imagine if you were in a relationship and you didn't have traveling together to talk about, or making dinner together, or gossiping about common friends, or fixing up your house together, or weekly Friday night date nights to quibble about. We literally have recycled everything we could possibly think of to try and keep our chats fresh, and yet every day, twice a day, she made the effort. I was heavily invested in Lilette. Not just emotionally, but I have been sending her boxes full of goodies every month to 6 weeks as the post office has slowed down. I was still getting paid by the school system, so $50 to see her light up every time I show her the postal receipt, and then another time when she opens the box to see all of her American favorites there is not a strain on my finances. I think it gives her a little flex on her friends and family to show off how much I care via chocolate bars, and seeing her light up like a kid on Christmas really makes me feel good. I'm still looking at Philippines YouTubers every chance I get to be as educated as I can about the culture and conversely about the scams. The number one red flag is when your Filipina asks for money. It always starts small. My mom is sick and I need $50 for medicine and the doctor. Then the Carabao gets sick and I need $100 for the vet and the medicine. Then I can't pay the rent. I need $250, etc., etc. I think most men in the U.S. would not sneeze at $50. I spend that much on wings and beer at Hooters on Saturday night and not even notice. Even 100 wouldn't be a terrible loss to the bottom line. It is a slow drip, drip, drip that you don't notice until you turn around and you realize you're sending your house payment to the Philippines every month, and you don't even know if this woman is married, single, or a lesbian. And by that time, it's too late. And when you question her, she knows the jig is up, and she blocks you, and after 2 years and $5,000. Lilette has never asked me for money, not a peso. Mind you, as a teacher, she makes 15,000 pesos a month. So one day, we're talking, and she said that if she can save 20 pesos per month, after 6 months, she can afford to pay the tricycle fare and go to the local mall and have a small lasagna and a small ice cream cone. It is her goal to save, so twice a year, she can have her 2 favorite foods instead of rice and vegetables every day. Every YouTuber this side of Manila will tell you the number one red flag is money. Don't do it. Money blinds the Filipinas and changes them. But to hear Lilette say she has to save for 6 months to have a small lasagna and a small ice cream broke my spirit. So I downloaded the Western Union app on my iPhone and I sent her $50 as she slept. I took a picture of the tracking number and sent it to her and told her to go to the mall and have whatever she wanted. She woke up and called me immediately and questioned me about the money. Her first words were, "What is this? I didn't ask for any money." To me, that was a good sign. I told her boxes were taking so long, so I wanted to surprise her and make her otherwise boring day be a fun adventure. She acquiesced and thanked me. She did not seem overly appreciative, but she did seem thankful. For someone who sometimes has to choose between eating and paying the light bill, which is a true story, I thought cold hard cash would garner a bigger reaction. But what do I know?
One summer day here, my friends wants us to go hiking in the mountain, riding a boat and swim in the river. I was so excited going there. It will be my first time to go hiking, boating and swim in the river. I never think I don't have a jogger to wear. I wore my leggings, hat and sunglasses. The day was over with too much excitement. When I told Rob about what happened for the day and what I wore, he asked me why not wearing a jogger during my hiking like everyone else. I told him it doesn't matter, I don't have that pants. Jogger are trending and expensive here. The important is I'm happy. When I woke up in my morning, when I opened my messages, Rob sent me a money through Western Union. Just to buy a jogger? He was sweet, but I don't like that Rob sent me money. I feel I'm a beggar. Box is enough for me and more exciting. When I bought a jogger. It's my first jogger. I was thankful with Rob. The next month again, he sent me a little money so I can buy my favorite lasagna, my Dairy Queen ice cream and burger. I never asked him any amount but he did. I felt that this relationship can survive until pandemic will be over. My day is not complete if we cannot talk every morning and night.
When I woke up the next morning, she had sent me a picture of where she had picked up the money and 2 more pictures of the small lasagna and small cone, both with receipts on how much she spent. Odd, but okay. I took my shower and got a cup of coffee and called her back about her mall adventure. She told me every detail of her dining experience. She got her small lasagna and a glass of water at a place called Greenwich, and her small ice cream from Dairy Queen. She told me exactly what it tasted like and how much she loved this food. Then she proceeded to ask me what she should do with the rest of the money. I had not given it a thought as what to do with $44. I mean, I didn't care. It was a gift. It was a paltry sum to me, relatively speaking. I told her I didn't care as it was a gift and she could spend it however she saw fit. Go get a gallon of ice cream. Go buy a dress. Go buy pizza for your family. Whatever makes you happy. She said, "Can I go pay my Wi-Fi bill?" I said, "You can do whatever you want with your money." She said, "It is your money. I must ask you if I am to spend it." I thought about arguing the point, but I chalked it up to cultural differences and felt very at ease knowing she is not a Filipina gold digger scammer. Then Christmas 2021 came and went, and I continually broke the rules. I sent an oversized box of goodies and Christmas presents for Lilette and chocolates enough for her whole family, and it cost about $70 just for the postage. Something weird happened because I sent the box 6 weeks out like normal, but it got there not on Christmas, but 3 weeks early. That box did not stand a chance of making it to Christmas as Lilette tore into it immediately, and the family had an impromptu celebration on the spot. Lilette took lots of pictures and sent them to me, thanking me profusely and sending her family's warm regards as well. Seeing the sheer joy in all of their faces really made me feel like I was loved by her and her family, and although it was probably just the surprise of American snacks and sweets, it still drew me closer and closer to Lilette. I waited until a few days before Christmas Eve and sent Lilette $100 via Western Union because you really should have something for Christmas, and my box had arrived just in time for Thanksgiving. So I felt obligated, and it 'tis the season. So I let my generosity fly. Lilette was grateful, but she still preferred the excitement of receiving a box over money. I had just sent her a third of her monthly salary, and she keeps proving her character to me over and over again.
December 2021, Rob surprised me a Christmas box. He sent a receipt from postal office. I never asked anything from him for this Christmas, but he did. I feel so excited what's inside the box. I asked him, but he kept telling me, I forgot. I asked him because I'm excited. Actually, Rob is the first person sending me a Christmas box like this. He makes me happy all the time, and he sent me some foods that I never had before in my younger days. Sometime gazing his box inside, it makes me cry. I can say this, chocolates I cannot eat this, because I don't have 1 peso in my pocket. I can have 1 peso, but I need to harvest a lemon juice and sell it to the market. I can have a pair of shoes, but I have to save money for almost half of the year to buy shoes. But Rob was so generous with me. Even we are living far, he made an effort to surprise me just to make me smile in a simple way of happiness. When I was young, my neighborhood friend told me she received a Christmas gifts from Santa in her stockings by the window. Because she is a good girl. I tell her, I'm a good girl too, but why I didn't receive any Christmas gift? So after my parents fell asleep, I take a sock from laundry and hang it by the window. I can hardly sleep waiting on Santa to fill my sock. When I wake up early Christmas morning, I run to my sock, but there is no gifts, only empty sock. I did not understand. The box arrived too early before Christmas. Rob told me not to open the box, but I can't wait until Christmas. My mom, my nephew, and my sister was excited also to open the box. So we decided to open it. Wow, it's imported chocolate and some imported cookies. Everybody got it and happy. The next week he sent me a money through Western Union. It's another surprise. But sending me a money is not very exciting, and I feel embarrassed sometimes because I know I am poor, but I am not beggar. I know it's hard to find money. You can have money when you work hard, and Rob worked too hard. Box is enough for me. But he makes more effort to make me smile and happy. This was my first Christmas with gifts. I think maybe Rob is Santa for me.
With New Year's in the rearview mirror, I started seeing YouTube videos about online marriages based out of Utah. They even interviewed some people who had done it and lawyers who said it was perfectly legal. Why do I bring this up? Because I've been waiting nearly 2.5 years to be able to see my Filipina future, and according to our government and the Philippines government, you can now travel round trip if you are married to a Philippine citizen or have family there and you have your vaccination card from the local health department. If I married Lilette online, I could fly there as soon as the ink was dry on the marriage certificate and be in the arms of my beloved. I know it sounds crazy. I'm clearly not this impetuous by nature, but almost 3 years of being fully committed to this relationship has me willing to do almost anything to see this sweet, intelligent, kind, beautiful woman. I do not need some big ceremony with a ton of cash dropped on food and decorations and fancy clothes. I just want to skip all that and see my Filipina in person. So I copy and paste the video link and send it to Lilette as she sleeps. As I wait for her to wake and watch the videos, I am quite sure she is even in deeper than I am, and she will jump on the online marriage train and put some literal skin to skin into this game.
Year
Right.
2021 still in pandemic. We struggled too much in this pandemic. Until our government mandated to have a vaccination, especially the public servants. I get my COVID shots twice. I have a vaccination card so I can work to school. Honestly, I was afraid to wait longer our relationship that maybe Rob will quit our relationship. Every now and then, I keep myself strong and pretend I'm okay every time we talked on the phone. I showed him I'm happy always talking him. Since we are started talking online with Rob, my family, and two close friends knows about our relationship. I keep this privately in almost 2 years. I don't want someone knows it until I get married. I never posted in my Facebook page. I used to watch YouTube videos to update what happened in our country. Until I saw a Filipina and American online wedding. It's possible to have an online wedding from America and Philippines. I search in Google if government will honor the online wedding. It says yes. I talked about online wedding to Rob. Rob agreed about online wedding if possible. He told me he will inquire about online wedding. At that time we think that's the only way he can travel to Philippines once we are married. I told my family about our plan but don't like it. My sister told me, I'm a desperate woman with that American man. There are too many American men out there, you can still find another one. Leave that man out our life. I didn't say anything. But I did not listen what they say. In other side, if I marry online, I can't have my dreamed wedding that I wanted to in beautiful garden. I can't wear a wedding gown, a glittering shoes, a curly hair with makeup, a wedding songs. My family can't wear a nice gown too. I don't have a butterfly in my wedding. And I can't walk in the aisles. I'm sure my dreamed wedding never turns to reality. How many years I've been waiting for in my dream wedding, but I can't have this in my life. Things that I need to consider in online wedding. It's sad but true. That my dream will end in a dream.
The online marriage idea was a total flop. I should have known it would be. Lilette is not some floozy, fly-by-night woman. She's exactly what I dreamed for in a woman. She was full of character and tradition, and there were just some things she would not waver on, and an online wedding was on the top of that list. In other news, our school district opened back up 4 days a week, and we were nervously back at work around a whole lot of people trying to stay healthy and safe. Our health department supplied free shots for everyone who wanted one, and teachers were pushed to the front of the line. I'm not making any kind of statement at all, except to say that some countries were allowing air travel to passengers who took the shot and the booster, and if the Philippines became one of those countries, I wanted to be ready. I've waited long enough. School was different in January 2022. It almost felt more like a science experiment TV show than being back to normal. I'm sure it was probably the same for almost everyone who went back to work during this time period. It was a combination of fear of the unknown coupled with the excitement that this felt like a big step towards being released from the pandemic. I pored over the press releases from the U.S. and the Philippines as it pertained to international travel, and I saw Thailand and other countries near there were allowing travel under certain restrictions, but there was no end in sight through the end of January for the Philippines. February came in, and after a couple of weeks, there was a miracle. The Philippines was open for business if you had the shot and at least one booster, which I did in my preparation for this exact moment. I went directly to my principal and said, I know we're not supposed to take any days off before spring break, but I have worked for you for 17 years and have only ever used one sick day in those 17 years. I have a very important trip to take, and I would like to take Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off before the break. There really wasn't much she could say to that, and she awarded me my request. I quickly power walked my way back to my room and got on Expedia and booked a round-trip flight with Delta Airlines to Manila for 11 days and sent my ticket receipt to Lilette as she slept.
Until second week of February 2022. America is in the list to enter Philippines. I was so happy that finally this is it, he can travel here. Rob booked a ticket on March 2022. Just to meet me in person. I can't explain my feelings that I can see him in person. I know we are not officially boyfriends and girlfriends, but I had a strong feelings with him. I really missed him so much. Almost 2 years and 7 months long distance relationship. My family still don't want me to meet Rob here, but I already decided I want to meet him and hopefully he will propose to me.
I have about 3 weeks before my plane takes off for the Philippines. 2 years ago, it was really easy. Book the ticket, bring your passport, and jump on the plane for 25 hours. Now, not so much. In addition to the previous aforementioned, you need a negative virus test taken within 72 hours of departure. You need your health department certificate with your initial shot and your booster documented, and then within 48 hours of your departure, you may not leave the United States without going onto the Philippines government website and registering with their health department and getting a screenshot of a QR code that must be presented wherever asked. I watched a YouTube channel devoted to travel updates from the U.S. to the Philippines, and it seemed things were changing daily. I stayed up on it and wanted to be ready for what may be my one and only shot to fly the friendly skies. So once again, I pack early and I go to the bank to withdraw only crisp, new $100 bills. Because according to YouTube, the money changers will not accept even the smallest flaw in foreign currency. I had already paid for my flight approximately $2,100 and my hotel accommodations about $800. So I withdrew an extra $3,000 to have in case anything came up. And according to Lilette, many places in the Philippines do not accept credit cards. As I told you 2 years ago, getting a taxi was the number one way to get scammed, so I sent Lilette some money via Western Union to hire a driver who was a family friend to pick us up at the airport, and I headed to my own Tulsa International Airport.
Finally, it's already March. Again, I have to get ready the room where he sleep. I had already an air conditioner, a fan, a new blanket, bed sheet, pillows, towels, and make sure no dust or cockroaches. Cleaning the kitchen and bathroom, but still no water heater. I'm sure he will be cold to shower. No coffee maker too. I bought him a sleeper too so he can use it inside the house. The day he traveled, I bought also pancit, beef, chicken, eggs and vegetables. And his request, a Philippines beer. He wants to try the local beer. I also worried he might not like when I cook his food. I'm not a good chef. I will try my very best. He's here in my house so he need to adjust. But I feel difficult looking for taxi cab to take me to the airport. It's nighttime. I'm scared because some taxi driver charging more and scammer or will take advantage of small woman traveling alone. My kuya can't take me to the airport. Until my sister recommend her friend that has a car and is a driver to take me into airport. Everything are ready. When I told my family that Rob is coming this month, my mom was happy. She's the first one who is happy and excited, same with my nephews and niece. My sister's still scared he is going to kill all of us and run back to the US.
The time has come. I have nervously checked and rechecked my bags and have my traveling documents firmly in my grasp. I wake my daughter to take me to the airport for my early morning flight. The airlines recommend being 4 hours early for any international flights. As we pull into Tulsa International Airport and stop to unload outside the Delta Airlines desk, my daughter snatches my phone out of my hand and says she is setting my phone so she can track my movements because she had a dream last night that Lilette drugged me and harvested my organs. A little extreme, but if it puts your mind at ease, okay. We say our goodbyes, and I can tell she is worried, but I'm more nervous because of the pandemic situation and the international travel. I go to the desk check in, and I have a backpack with in-flight needs and my laptop as well, as I carry on suitcase with all of my clothing and toiletries, etc. I also brought a checked bag full of American chocolates, candies, t-shirts, and cookies for the family. I understand that it is rude in their culture to show up to their house and not have any gifts. The desk checked my bags and all of my paperwork, including my QR code. The attendant warned me that I would not be allowed entry into any country without that Philippines QR code, so I guarded it with my life. On to the security checkpoint, and that was more or less the same, except that you had to pull down your mask for them to match your face to your passport photo. I gathered my belongings and put my shoes back on and went to my favorite bagel sandwich kiosk and ate my breakfast, as I had 2 hours to kill, because it never takes very long at my airport if you have your life in order. I pop onto the airport Wi-Fi and video call Lilette. She is preparing for bed and says everything is in order for my arrival, and she will be waiting behind the guardrails outside the international terminal with the rest of the crowd. I saw on YouTube that due to virus concerns, you cannot enter the airport or even cross the road unless you have a ticket. Outside the airport, you will cross 3 lanes. Then, before the parking area, there is like a big pen that keeps all non-travelers from crossing the road, and there are heavily armed guards there to make sure you follow the pandemic rules. I go to my gate, charge my phone, and look at my social media and assure my daughter I still have my organs, and finally start boarding my first plane to Houston, Texas. As I board the plane for Houston, I realize there are not too many people on this plane. This is a hub for trips to Houston, so at any other time this plane would be standing room only, but today it is not even half full. Delta's economy seats are not bad. They are pretty comfortable for the short 2-hour flight. As I exit the plane, we are a little behind schedule, so I have just enough time to use the restroom and make my gate. I did, however, notice that the usually super busy Houston airport was not busy at all. As I told you, I've never flown internationally, so I was a little taken aback when I saw how gigantic the interior of this plane was. It was like they took 2 of the last plane we were on and made them into one really big plane. When I chose my seat online, I chose the Economy Plus seat. It is the seat normal working men like me can afford, but as I approached my seat, I noticed I am in business class and not in economy. I can only assume due to the plane being 1/4 of the way full, and they were spreading us out for virus restrictions and to balance the plane for a smooth ride. Anyway, this was the first time for me to sit in such a royal seat, something like I would imagine the King of England would sit in for his flight. It was very wide, very plush, leather-looking recliner. They even had real headphones, a TV, pillow, blanket, and slippers for your traveling enjoyment. Best of all, I had the whole row to myself for the 14-plus hour haul to Narita, Japan. For these international flights, Delta has partnered with Japan Airlines, so your flight attendants were all Japanese women who were very friendly and very helpful. I settled in as the plane takes off, and it is probably around noon U.S. time, and we were informed that we would be served a meal in about an hour. Great. I had not eaten since the bagel kiosk at 6 a.m. Our lovely flight attendants came by and offered us our choice of fish, beef, or vegetables in our rice. I accepted the fish, and it came with a small shredded vegetable salad, edamame, a dinner roll with butter, and small ice cream cup. I had a wonderful dinner with bottled water and sat back and watched some Netflix shows I had downloaded to kill some time. After the meal service, they turned off nearly all of the lights, but it was cool because the aisle lights and the seatback screens were on, so you could navigate your surroundings if need be. After about 4 hours, I used the restroom and got out my pillow and blanket and reclined in my throne to try and knock off 5 or 6 hours of this trip. I don't remember falling asleep, but I woke up to the rustling of attendants and the smell of breakfast sandwiches. That was okay because I had killed 4 hours and I ate my sandwich and watched a movie and snoozed for another 2 hours. I woke up and watched another movie, and just about an hour before we landed, the attendants came by once again with a full rice meal, This time, mushrooms or eggs would be the choice. I took the mushroom, and I will say that as far as airline food goes for a working man's budget, this was a solid 7.9. When we exited the plane, we are separated into passengers staying in Japan and onward passengers traveling to Manila. You cannot go anywhere else lest you be accosted by a military man with a rifle correcting you. They took us to a long row of tables, and one by one we showed our documents and went through another layer of security and filled out some light paperwork. After security, we went to the gate on our own, and the usually busy Narita International Airport was a ghost town. There were no food or drink locations open, only duty-free booze, cigarette, handbags, and perfume stores, none of which excited me. I made it to my gate, and like clockwork, they checked our passports, our Philippines QR code, and our health department shot records. Then on to another similarly big airplane for a 5-hour flight to Manila. I won't bore you with the details of the flight, but to say just as we were about to push off from the gate, a skinny Japanese young man dressed in Japanese airline attendant uniform rushes to my seat and keeps repeating my name in broken English. I respond in the affirmative, and he requests to look at my health department certificate again. As I'm digging it out, I ask if there is a problem because this is literally the 4th time I've shown it in the Narita airport. He just keeps repeating my name, takes a picture of my health certificate, and rushes off the plane. Crisis avoided. The flight was uneventful, and the food was good, as was the service. When we exit the plane in Manila, we immediately must show our health department certificate, and then we are taken to a row of tables manned by Philippines Army men. They ask us for our health department certificate and push us on to customs, where we show our passport, our health department certificate, and our negative 48-hour test, and then we are released to pick up our checked baggage. Guess what? The all-important Philippines government QR code was not checked, not even once. I'm getting super nervous at this point because the unthinkable is about to catch me off guard. After landing in Manila and making my way through immigration, I find my way to the baggage claim and patiently wait for my one checked bag full of America's sweets and trinkets designated for Lilette's family. I grab my bags and head towards the restroom to freshen up and take off my winter traveling clothes to change into a short-sleeve shirt, as it is 11 p.m. and still about 93 degrees in Manila. I walk out of the restroom and head towards the one exit door that you're allowed to use, and as the giant sliding type doors open, there is a sea of Filipinos 20 yards across the street behind a short fence. Between me and the crowd is 3 lanes of street and armed guards keeping the Filipinos from rushing the road to see their foreigner with their entire family in tow. Everyone is wearing a mask. It is mandatory, and I have my contacts in, and I really can't discern one Filipina from the other. There had to be 150 people across the road, and they were all dressed in the same shorts, t-shirt, and sandals. They all had long black hair and brown faces covered in a mask, and I don't see Lilette anywhere. I have to be in the right place. It has got to be easy to pick me out of the crowd, as I'm the only white guy standing there looking lost. So I carefully start looking at one end of the fence and slowly scan to the other end. Every single black-haired short Filipina looks like it could be her, but none of the crowd reacts to me. I see other foreigners walk across the street into the waiting arms of their Filipina, and they don't seem to be having any trouble recognizing each other. So I walk towards the other end and just stand there in hopes that she has just arrived late and can't find me yet. 5 minutes in that location, and nobody stirs. So I walk back to the middle by the exit door, as that is where someone would naturally think to look for their passenger. 5 more minutes of awkwardly standing, and although there are still about 100 people standing 3 deep at the fence, nobody is making any moves in my direction. I'm starting to panic. I have seen videos where the Filipina gets cold feet and just doesn't show up to the airport, or they were too shy to approach their foreigner and hid behind a pole. It has been 30 minutes of standing in front of the international arrivals gate, and the dream seems to have died on arrival. I know I shouldn't get a taxi because I will be scammed out of money, and To make it worse, the airport money changer was not open, so I cannot even do business at the local currency. So basically, I'm a stranger in a strange land and I hold no currency. I walk down to the taxi line to see if the driver will accept American dollars to take me to whatever hotel is nearby until I can reassess my trip and make new plans after a good night's sleep. About halfway to the taxis, at the end of the fence, I see someone off in the distance timidly waving in my direction. I look, but I don't really react as it looks like they are waving to someone behind me. But they start waving with more authority, and they start pushing their way through the crowd, stopping every 10 feet or so to wave at me and keep pushing towards the guard. This woman looks like every other masked short person with long hair, but this woman has a man in tow. I'm discombobulated, but I turn to the street crossing and begin walking towards the armed guard, and then it happens.
Here comes the truth. Rob will land to Manila today. Being 2 years of long-distance relationship, we are finally closing the distance later because he will arrive later tonight. Finally, I can meet him personally. I was imagining how he looks like in person, if he's really handsome, cute, tall, and of course how good he is. And finally, this is the judgment day if we match together. I was happy, excited, and nervous. I was really mixed emotion. My family was also nervous and excited to meet Rob. Before going to airport, I checked everything, the room where he stays, that's make him feel comfortable because I'm sure he's very very tired from his long trip from United States to Manila, Philippines. I know he wants a good night's sleep too when he reached my house. It's time for me to go to the airport to pick him up. My heart beats so fast, my legs are shaking, my hands is so cold. I can't really say a words because of nervousness. This is the first time that I felt this. I can't really control my feelings. When I arrived at the airport and stepped down, I started looking for Rob. I find difficulty looking for Rob. There was too many foreigners in the arrival area coming inside and outside, some are standing and walking. Very difficult to identify a person because everybody are wearing a face mask. I can't go to the front for the waiting area because it's too crowded and I'm small. It's about 30 minutes finding him but still can't find him. Where he is? Why I can't find him? Maybe someone picked him up or he already met another woman or he lied to me or he is scammer Americano. Bad Americano, he is. When I got a chance to go the front, I saw a man standing alone wearing his mask between bay 8 and 9. I remember his bag, it's color blue. I was thinking it's Rob. Before I waved, I breathed deeply because here it is, I can be with him. When I waved my hands, he walked faster and hugged me. I felt so nervous and happy that finally after talking online because of pandemic I meet him personally and I'm not going to use my phone to call him. I can talk to him now unlimitedly because we are together now.
Seeing Lilette across the road at the airport was an overwhelming feel of relief that she was there and a feeling of, now I will really have to see if these feelings of love are real or if they are a figment of the internet. I begin walking quickly to her once I'm sure it is her, and her little legs get up to speed as she brushes by the armed security guard who tries to stop her, but she points aggressively in my direction and he lets her pass. She runs to me as if she is powered by love and an idea that if she could hug me, I am hers forever. We awkwardly hug right there in the middle of the street. Understand, we have never touched each other before. We have no idea if her arms are going high and mine are going low or some other combination. We both are not public display of affection type people, but we waited so long for this moment that it felt like I fell down into a giant pillow made of cute puppies. It was an unbelievable feeling to have this moment after so long and to test the chemistry between us. I could tell she felt the same way, but I also saw some embarrassment in her eyes as she is very conservative and hugging a white Americano at the airport in front of 200 people was not on her traditional Filipina list of good behavior. So I grab her hand and walk towards the dimly lit parking lot, following our driver. And as we got away from the mass of spectators, I pull her mask down, put my hands on her cheek, and kiss her quickly on the lips. She was a little taken aback, but seemed happy that I got that out of the way. The driver loaded my bags and opened our door, and we sat very closely together in the back seat, as if I let go of her hand, I would wake back up in the United States from another dream of meeting the object of my desire. Things were a little different in person, and I broached the subject by asking if she thought I was the same in person. She said that I was more guapo in person and tall. I am 5'8", so relatively speaking, I am tall. I followed that up with, she too is different in person. I declared, you are not 4 feet 11 inches tall. You are shorter. She protested, but I continued with, and you're brown. She said phones in the Philippines automatically come with a filter to make you look white because that is a prized quality there. Not to me. I liked that she was petite and brown. I also liked that she was much more shy and soft-spoken in person. Honestly, from the video chats to in person so far have exceeded my expectations. We make awkward small talk as we travel back through Manila. Even at midnight, the traffic is horrendous, but looking at a major metropolis in a new city at night is equally intriguing to me. I asked the driver to find me an ATM so I can get some local currency for any stops we make on the way until I can get to the money changer tomorrow. We get back on the road, and although it is only about a 30-mile drive to her house, we settle in for a 2-hour ride because of the aforementioned traffic. We continue our small talk, and Lilette is so nervous she has forgot some of her English, so I have to listen carefully. About an hour into the ride, the adrenaline starts to wear off, and I am bushed from the 25 hours of traveling and waiting. And right now in America, it's 11 a.m. and not 1 a.m. in the morning as it is here. I guess I will get to see if jet lag is a real thing. And I tell her she too is coming down from the excitement as she leans her head on my shoulder and begins to nod off. This makes me feel calm and happy because I feel as though she is happy and trusts me enough to drop her guard. I am too enthralled in watching Manila pass through the windshield to worry about Lilette sleeping versus making more awkward small talk. So I continue taking in the sights, but as we get closer to her barangay, there's a definite changing of scenery, and I hope that I am prepared for what I am about to see.
It's time for me to go to the airport to pick him up. My heart beats so fast, my legs are shaking, my hands is so cold. I can't really say a words because of nervousness. This is the first time that I felt this. I can't really control my feelings. When I arrived at the airport and stepped down, I started looking for Rob. I find difficulty looking for Rob. There was too many foreigners in the arrival area coming inside and outside, some are standing and some are walking. Very difficult to identify a person because everybody are wearing a face mask. I can't go to the front for the waiting area because it's too crowded and I'm small. It's about 30 minutes searching him from across the street, but still can't find him. Where he is? Why I can't find him? Maybe someone picked him up or he already met another woman or he lied to me or he is scammer Americano. Bad Americano, he is. When I got a chance to go the front, I saw a man standing alone wearing his mask between bay 8 and 9. I remember his bag, it's color blue. I was thinking it's Rob. Before I waved, I breathed deeply because here it is, I can be with him. When I waved my hands, he walked faster and hugged me in street. Rob hugged me so close in a crowded area, but that time I don't care to anybody. I think that time I forgot the real Lilith. I became liberated woman for a while. I forgot being conservative Filipina Lilith. I feel I'm in the clouds of happiness. My heart was full of happiness. I'm speechless seeing him. I thought it's an imagination. So, I hold his hands again to make sure he's not disappear or melt like an ice cream. But no, it's true he does not disappear nor melted. I don't know what to say but I keep fighting my nervousness. I need to talk to him or say something. I remember, my first question to Rob is how was your trip? He told me, I was so tired it's a long trip, 24 hours just seeing you. And I said, and smiled, yes it's true, just to meet your Filipina girl. I never forget he told me, I'm Mabeho now. I just said, well that's okay. As we get inside the car, I still holds his hands just to be sure he's true not to be gone. I tried to kiss his hands also. I felt so nervous and happy that finally after talking online because of pandemic I meet him personally and I'm not going to use my phone to call him. I can talk to him now unlimitedly because we are together now.
The further we get out of Manila proper, I notice that the big buildings and the clean sidewalks are changing to the opposite. There is less light on the roads, and the houses have turned into unfinished concrete boxes with tin roofs or old vinyl billboard tarps draped over the roof to keep out the rain. There seem to be more and more trash discarded on the side of the road and the sidewalk. I am not a fancy man by any means, but I was getting a little concerned. We take our final turn into her barangay, and we are stopped by an armed guard at a checkpoint, and he checked the driver's credentials and waved us on. As we pull up to Lilette's house, I notice what could be best described as mini brownstones like you would see in Philadelphia, all in a row, all connected for about 100 yards, about 15 feet wide, and again, all concrete block and tin roof. The street in her neighborhood looked pretty well clean, and most people had a lot of potted plants on either side of their stoop. Nothing was really wrong, it was just so different from my experiences, which intrigued me, because I'm always trying to get out of my routine and have a different experience wherever I go, and I'm about to get a big one. It is probably about 1 a.m. and her family is all asleep, so we were being quiet, and I used the CR to freshen up and then called my daughter to tell her I was at Lilette's house and I still had my kidneys. We went up some very steep and narrow stairs to the upstairs. There are 2 bedrooms upstairs, each about 8 feet by 8 feet. Lilette says I will sleep in her room, and her mom, her sister, her nephew, and Lilette will all sleep in the other room. I protested because I hate to put anyone out. They would be packed into the other room while I get the comfort of my own bed. Lilette would not hear my protest. Her culture dictated that the guest gets the best, and I was the guest. I felt super guilty, but I had done my homework, and I knew once culture was mentioned, it is best for the foreigner to shut up. With that out of the way, we talked a little, and Lilette massaged my hands. It was delightful. Massage is taken very seriously there as a therapeutic device. I took my shoes and socks off, and that long flight had made my ankles swell up with water. Lilette would have none of that and demanded to massage my feet and my back. I was in heaven. I was feeling better already. She turned on the air conditioner, kissed me goodnight, and went to her sister's crowded room to sleep. I updated my social medias for a little bit as there were some people who were interested in my day-to-day happenings in the Philippines, and then I pulled up my little blanket and passed smooth out. I was going to need a good night's sleep as tomorrow's family meeting was not going to go the way I expected.
As we reached the house, my family was already asleep. Before he sleep, he cleaned up his body to be fresh and called his daughter just to inform he arrived safely. But I need to massage his back and foot because he was swelling, to make him relax while he's sleeping. But I'm not a professional massage therapist but trying harder. While I massaged him, he is so white Americano. This is what I want, white Americano. White always catches in my eye. Guapo I think. Before that, I asked him if he was hungry. He said no. I said, you need to take rest, I know you're tired. Just feel at home. If you need something just let me know. I go to sleeping at another room and before I close my eyes, I ask God, is this true? Maybe tomorrow, when I woke up, he's gone already. Maybe this all a dream. I can't believe he's here already. My family was asleep. I get up and tried to open slowly Rob's door in his room to check if he was not gone. He was still there lying in the bed. So I thank God and I go back and sleep because this will be the first time in my life that I wake early to make coffee and make comfortable a man who I want to propose me, so he must see me being good wife. It's morning time and Rob's first day in my house here in Montalban. We woke up same time at 5 a.m. in the morning. While he is in the shower, I get ready his coffee and his breakfast. It is my first time preparing a food for Americano. I cooked fried rice with cabbage, eggplant, white onions, bell pepper and eggs. I really tried my best, hope he liked it. After he showered, he ate his breakfast, and he liked the food I cooked. I made another coffee because I put sugar in his coffee. He don't put sugar on it. He said my coffee that I made for him is the best. I was also thankful because he appreciated. I saw Rob that he was amazed the new environment. He looked outside in the window and looked around. We go outside. While I sweep the yard, he walked a little bit and looked our area. He greeted my neighbors also. He saw our doorknob is broken. We went to the hardware and bought a new doorknob. While we are walking, his eyes is busy looking at the jeepneys, tricycle, houses, small sorry store and the people also. When we got home, he changed our broken doorknob and my family's is arriving our house to meet Rob.
I got a few hours sleep after my big trip, but I'm still very much off kilter because even though it is early morning in the Philippines, I would be watching the evening news back home. Lilette takes me downstairs to the shower. Luckily, we had water pressure that day, so I took a shower. There is no water heater, and a quick lather and rinse is called for. The bathroom is right next to the kitchen and the living room. Really, it is just one tiny room, so whatever you do in the bathroom will echo throughout. Just a warning. I am very much out of my comfort zone, but happily so. I am over the moon so far with Lilette, and the minor inconveniences that I am navigating are just part of learning this new culture that I hope to be folded into. Lilette makes me some instant coffee and then fried rice for breakfast. Not your typical American fare, but I put a smile on my face because this really sweet and kind woman has gone out of her way to make me feel welcome, and that more than makes up for a cold shower and supper for breakfast. We went outside, and I took in the neighborhood sights and sounds. I'm not used to everyone there looking at me, pointing and commenting. I guess a white cano is not very common in this barangay. We went to the local hardware store as Lilette wanted me to replace a doorknob at their house. We walked there through the narrow streets of her area, and I got a very close-up look at everything. There were tricycles whizzing by and jeepneys left over from World War II picking up passengers every 20 yards. There appears to be no stop signs or stop lights, let alone any traffic laws, as everyone did just what they wanted, and every vehicle is constantly beeping their horn. It is a flurry of activity, but I did notice that every single person on these modes of transportation looked unhappy. It makes sense as they stuff themselves in like cattle and stop frequently to stuff more commuters in, and I actually can't wait to have this experience. Along the way, they have a lot of small stores attached to their houses where you can buy household staples and whatnots because the main market is too far away to go just to buy convenience items or rice if you run out. There are a lot of tiny restaurants and street vendors out selling all kinds of foods from fried rice to barbecued chicken intestines, chicken strips, or an almost ready-to-hatch duck egg soaked in vinegar and eaten whole, beak, feather, and all, called balut. It is blowing my mind, but this is why I'm here. I want to drink in all this culture to better communicate with and to better understand Lilette. The time is getting away from us, and we have to get back because her family is on their way to meet me. I hope they're going to be nice to me and take me at face value because I am seriously considering taking their sister away from them and I don't think they're going to cooperate. It is time to meet Lilette's family. There are 12 of them, and they arrive all at once, and we all exchange pleasantries, and I am a duck out of water. They can all speak English at least a little to me, but then there's a full-blown family conversation in Tagalog, and I'm quite sure it's about me. But I have watched enough 90 Day Fiancé to just shut my mouth and smile and not rock the boat. 13 people in such a small house is way too close for comfort for my taste, so I bought tickets for everyone to the Avalon Zoo that is nearby. I figured it would give everybody a way to come and go and spend as much or as little time with me as they wish. Everyone seemed to be excited to visit the zoo, so I felt maybe I had taken some heat off of me. Not so. Kuya Rene was not well versed in the English language arts, but he tried hard to ask me easy questions and tell easy jokes and make me feel comfortable. The nieces and nephews were scared of me. They stayed silent, but were happy to take pictures with me. It is easy to feel like a celebrity here when you stand out from the crowd so differently. Everyone splits up and walks around the zoo as we wait for the Shakey's pizza to be delivered. I ordered a ton of food, and it has arrived. The sisters quickly jump into action and prepare the tables and plates and utensils and start the rice cooker. Rice? I think to myself. There is more food here than we will ever eat. Why make rice? But whatever. When in Rome. We all sit down together and Kuya prays. I think he called demons down to get me away from his sister-in-law, but I survived the prayer and we began to eat. Everyone thanked me for the zoo entry fee and the American-style Italian food, and then it got eerily quiet. The eldest sister, named May, holds all of the authority in the family, and she is sitting just on the other side of Lilette from me. And as she begins to speak, everyone else shuts up. She addresses me as Sir Rob, which makes me feel like I just got called down to the principal's office, and she asks me, "What are your intentions here in the Philippines?" Her English is as good as Lilette, so she didn't stutter. I replied that I am here to meet her sister because I am very fond of her and I think she is a great person. She didn't answer me back instantly as she was processing her next question based on my first response, so I felt like I passed question number 1. Many questions came and went, and I tried to answer honestly and directly, all while looking past Lilette to look May in the eye. Her countenance was not the usual happy smiles from earlier. She was all business and closed with this doozy. "Are you going to marry my sister?" That one caught me off guard. How do I answer this one? May was very bold and knocked me down with that jab. I kept looking at Lilette for some help, but this isn't the United States. The younger sister does not interrupt the eldest sister. So I'm on my own. I pick myself up, look her in the eye, and I say, I hope that after this trip, Lilette and I will have time to reflect and make that decision together. That seemed to answer her question adequately, and she closed with a statement, not a question. If you marry, it will be in the Philippines, not online, and not in your country. I said I understand, and everyone went back to eating. Then Kuya Rene pulls me to the side. Kuya is May's husband, so he holds the second most currency in this family. And he says, as best as I could put together his broken English, "We are very happy you are here. We want only the best for our sister. Do not be discouraged by May. I like you. I think you are a good man. Go walk around the zoo with Lilette." Believe you me, I could not grab her hand fast enough. I needed some fresh air and some space to see from Lilette what was really happening.
My family give nice welcome to Rob. Kuya said his nose is bleeding in speaking English. My families and Rob we went to Avalon Zoo. Everybody was excited and happy seeing different animals. While sitting there and eating our lunch, my sisters is starting interrogating Rob. The questions begun. I know it's a disaster questions to Rob because nobody defend him, just himself. My sisters questioning him, why you are coming to the Philippines? What is your intention? What job you have? Too much personal questions for him. And I never help him to answer the questions. I let him answer it. After my sister satisfied his answer, we go around the Avalon Zoo with the kids. The kids are excited for Rob. We had time to talk together. We take so much of photos. After Avalon Zoo, Kuya took us a short road trip. We went by my school. I show him where I work every day. We go to Wawa also. Then we went home and my family talked to him again and still have some questions to Rob. It was great for everybody for meeting Rob. But I know Rob is feeling nervous, even he's not telling me, but I feel it. When everybody went home, Rob told me he wants to go to the room and have a nap and hear what everyone say in Tagalog.
When I tell you jet lag is a real thing, I'm 100% serious. Your rhythm is completely out of whack, and you have to be careful how you move and how you talk, because it's almost like being in a fog or coming to from anesthesia from surgery. You might do or say something that you're not totally ready to keep your word on once you sober up. So I was glad to have made it through my zoo interrogation without making any wild claims and still being welcome in my wife's household. It was only about 5 p.m. when we arrived back at Lilette's house, but I was dead on my feet and all I wanted to do was go up to her room and fall asleep. And I did, and when I woke up the next morning, Lilette had just opened the bedroom door and handed me a cup of coffee with a giant smile on her face. I said good morning and asked why the big smile. She said she had been watching her sisters bring coffee to their husband for years now, and she had always been jealous, wishing she could have a man in her life to make coffee for, and now her dream had come true. Then she invited me downstairs to the breakfast table where she had cooked me vegetable pancit and stood over me watching me eat. After a minute or two, I asked her why she doesn't sit down and eat. She asked, "Is it good?" I responded, "Masarap." She then got her own plate and joined me for breakfast. I assume, like the coffee, this is another one of her dreams coming true. As I say that, I know it all sounds so small in the dream department, but to her, having this relationship with the possible upside of marriage attached to it was indeed her biggest dream that she thought had escaped her and she would die an old maid. So I took note and measured every one of my words so as to try and honestly add to her dream and not become her nightmare. After breakfast was over, we packed our bags and said our goodbyes as my 2-day house stay meet with the family obligation had expired and I was allowed to take Lilette to our first trip together to Tagaytay. Tagaytay is more of a well-known tourist destination for Filipinos versus the few foreigners we would be seeing there. Many of the attractions there were free or cheap to enter, and after about an hour, our driver pulled up in front of our accommodations, the Hotel 6B.
After 2 days of staying in my house and meeting my family, Rob booked a hotel from Tagaytay. The day before going to Tagaytay, me and Rob told my family we are planning tomorrow to go to Tagaytay. My family was agreed, but of course they tell Rob to bring home Lilette alive. During that night, we are busy packing our things. Rob was excited to his first trip in a province here in Philippines. And me was also excited because it will be my first experience traveling with a man. I had a positive thinking that everything will be fine going a trip with Rob. I'm sure he's going to care of me. He's not doing bad or else he's going to jail and not going back to America. In our way to Tagaytay, I saw Rob's eyes busy looking at the side, especially the traffic here in Manila. While going to Tagaytay, we are talking a lot of things until I got sleep in his shoulder. But he doesn't feel sleepy in our trip. When we reach our destination, we go to first the Hotel 6B where I hope he will propose me.
Was a reasonably priced hotel. In Tagaytay, it seemed there were a lot of smaller hotels built into the side of the mountain. The hotels were either very expensive or moderately priced like ours. I think I paid $60 US per night for 2 nights, and that included free breakfast in their Korean barbecue restaurant. The room was okay. It had warm water shower, mini fridge, flat screen TV, and only one queen-size bed, although I ordered 2, so I hoped Lilette would not think I was up to no good. We dropped our bags and we went to the bottom floor that built into the mountain, and the driver was parked there under the open garage. He drove us to Picnic Park, which I understood to be a very popular attraction with the locals. Tagaytay is at 2,100 feet elevation, so it is much cooler than the heat of Manila. In the evening, you would want to have a long sleeve on to be comfortable. People's Park starts at 2,100 feet elevation, and there is a building you enter through and pay 75 pesos, or about $1.50 a person. There usually is horseback riding and zip lining for an additional fee, but that was closed due to the pandemic. The park had not yet recovered from being unmaintained during the shutdown, so there was quite a bit of trash laying around, but if you look past that, the scenery at elevation was spectacular. It was very lush and green, and you could see tall lake and tall volcano off in the distance. There was a lot of concrete gazebos you could rent for your family picnic, and also a lot of concrete benches to sit on and just enjoy the view. At the top of the hill on the way out, there are many small places to buy food and rows of souvenir kiosks. T-shirts were $3.50 US, so I loaded up on those for my friends at home. And then Lilette asked me if I can buy her a hand-carved wooden rooster for $7 US. I said, of all these souvenirs here, you want a rooster that doesn't even say Tagaytay? She said it reminds her of her time in the province, and she always saw them and could never afford one. So a rooster it is.
After dropping our things, we go to Picnic Grove. Because it's pandemic, the place is not attractive, looks so sad. There was few small souvenir shop, and he bought a couple of shirts and cap for his souvenir. He bought me also a rooster. And we returned to hotel and eat our dinner. The restaurant has all windows and you can see all the way to Tall Lake. We had great night dinner looking the view of Tagaytay. We take many pictures with volcano and the lake and jungle in the background. I am sure this is my moment from Rob. I was expecting he will propose me for marriage, but he did not. So I was disappointed, but we went to room and sleep. We wake up early and I make coffee for Rob. We shower and prepare ourselves for the day. Maybe Tuesday is my day for my dream to come true. It was a nice morning too, looking the view of tall volcano, taking pictures from the view and had breakfast. While he is busy looking at the view from volcano, I was thinking why he doesn't propose me. This is perfect time. I started thinking he don't have plan for me to marry. He keep talking to me, but I pretend I like talking with him, but the truth, I don't like him anymore. Until we told the driver to take us to People's Park. We enjoyed walking around there.
I asked Lilette when the driver was going to be back to pick us up. She said he slept in his car in the lower lot. I asked, why didn't he go home? She said gas is too expensive. She texted the driver and he pulled around front and took us to People's Park in the sky. There was a 35 peso fee to enter, about 70 cents American, and then you could pay to ride a jeepney to the top or just walk the very steep incline up the paved road to the top of the mountain to the Marcos mansion. This giant unfinished concrete mansion was started in 1981 by then President Ferdinand Marcos as a residence. Then in 1983, U.S. President Ronald Reagan had a scheduled visit to the Philippines, and the work was sped up to accommodate President Reagan. Before the visit happened, Reagan canceled the trip and all work on the mansion stopped. Subsequently, in 1986, Marcos was removed from power and work on the mansion never restarted. It is exactly as it was in 1986, and it is very interesting. There are other attractions there as well as the regular stalls of souvenir vendors selling trinkets, shirts, and local snack items. Lilette is starting to act a little aloof and disinterested, but I think I have the cure with our next destination. People's Park in the Sky is interesting to walk around, but is really only good for about 90 minutes of tourism, and we had arrived in the morning and we were done by 9:30. We asked the driver to take us on to Sky Ranch Amusement Park. It is very clean and well manicured, and everything looks pretty new and well maintained. We arrived at 10:30 and were ready for lunch, but the restaurants did not open till 11 a.m. So I bought us some ride tickets and we rode 2 thrill rides. This turned out to be the funniest thing I've ever experienced. Sometimes I forget that people in poverty do not have the same opportunities for life experiences that I have had. Lilette had never seen the inside of an amusement park, let alone ever rode a thrill ride. And I am 100% sure she will never ride another thrill ride as long as she lives. To calm her down, we went to a restaurant named Mama Lou's. It is Italian, and I have found in my short stay that American Italian and Philippines Italian are 2 different things. Their marinara sauce is sweet, which threw me off. We ordered a pizza for me and, of course, lasagna for Lilette. She asked if she could splurge on the mango smoothie. Of course, I said. Enjoy your time here with me. She confided that a restaurant smoothie was out of the question for her budget, and she always wanted to order one. The lasagna and mango smoothie combination flipped her switch, and she was on cloud 9. I was glad she was in a better mood because I had been walking around all day with an engagement ring in my pocket, and I was fairly sure I wanted to ask her to marry me on this trip, but cold feet were setting in and the gravity of this life-changing decision was weighing heavy on my heart. But the ring could stay in my pocket and nobody would be the wiser, so I just relaxed and tried to enjoy a quick walk to the merry-go-round. Lilette had been on a carousel before, and she loved it. Lilette did have one request for me. The Ferris wheel is her all-time favorite, and she wanted to ride. On the walk to the Ferris wheel, we stopped to look out over the jungle and towards Tall Volcano. As we stand there, hand in hand, we saw something magical happen, and it gave me the courage to press on.
We go to the Sky Ranch too. Finally, I can see what's inside there. First thing we do, we ride a merry-go-round, Super Vikings, and drop tower. I feel my heart fall down, I shouting and nervous while riding the Super Vikings and drop tower. He told me it was a nice ride. It was a bad rides for me. We take a break and ate pizza and my favorite lasagna at Mama Lou's. After that we go around. Accidentally, we saw 2 yellow birds flying there over the mango trees. But then one bird turns to butterfly. I was so amazed and happy. I told him it's a magic. How could the bird turn into butterfly? I like butterflies, that is my dream in my wedding soon. He did not say something. We ride my favorite Ferris wheel. When we are in the top, he asked some questions. If I like him, if I love him, until his last questions, will you marry me? I almost cried in his last question. I was not expecting he will propose me in the Ferris wheel. I was shocked. I feel so happy that the long wait is over. I thought bird and butterfly is a sign of his proposal. While we are in the car until we reach at the hotel, I can't believe his is my fiancé now. My heart is full of happiness. But I am scared to tell my sister May tomorrow back in Manila. She could say no and my dream will end. After Tagaytay, we back at Manila and get some of our clothes and get back again for another trip at Makati. When we are home, my mother and sister and nephew was happy seeing us again. I think they are relieved I am still alive. We talk a little bit with my mom. She's asking about our trip. But I keep silent that I am already engaged with Rob. After we get clothes, we go to Makati Dusit Thani. While we are in the car, I was also excited what it looks like inside. After an hour we reach at Dusit Thani, I was so amazed. From the security guard, the hotel boy, the ladies in the information, they are all polite, helpful, all well-mannered. I just talk in myself while walking slowly inside the hotel and observing those people who are inside the hotel. As a province girl, it's my first time having an experience the five-star hotel. I look around and said wow. Amazing hotel, I'm sure it's expensive. I can't afford staying here for one night. But Rob doesn't know that I am very quiet because I am out of place. I don't know how to act around rich people, but Rob has no trouble, so I stay in his side. The room was very nice, very comfortable, and the bathroom is as big as my room at home. They had a nice swimming pool too. What makes me so attracted to it is the very beautiful garden. Greenery garden, this is perfect for those who love nature. I enjoyed in the garden. That's perfect, especially during night when Rob take me a dinner date in the garden. Very relaxing, their lights is like a moon. Morning breakfast dine in restaurant is nice too. A lot of foods. All foods are delicious, I can choose what I want. Everything are delicious. I know I was very ignorant and innocent in this expensive five-star hotel because it is my first time. But I act professionally so people can't tell I'm ignorant. I was thinking it's a fairy tale story happen in my life now. There are a lot of businessmen, rich people in that hotel, and a lot of foreigners. While staying there for 1 week, I enjoyed myself with Rob. Rob treated me nicely with respect. I feel more in love with Rob. During afternoon, we go to the mall. Rob bring me to a fancy restaurant and it's too expensive. Rob tried me to experience those fancy things that I do not have in my younger days. I just realized if you have a good life you can get everything. What you see is you what you get. How lucky they are. But I was not born rich. When I look back my past life, street food was enough. I just remembered the story Hansel and Gretel. I think I am like that. They are hungry for foods. But I'm so happy that Rob tried his best to brought me here.
When I booked my hotel stays, I didn't want to overwhelm Lilette right away with a fancy hotel stay in Tagaytay. But the last few days before I left, I wanted to make an impression. I wanted her to know how far I was willing to go to make her feel special. Normally I wouldn't stay at the Dusit Thani as it is $240 US per night, but because they were recovering from the lockdown, their rate was half that, and because of their reputation, I jumped on that price, and I am glad I did. Lilette loved their garden that was outside the restaurant. It was so lush and green that you could not tell you were in the city. They even had a really big koi pond with some very interesting fish there. Everything there was as if it were made for our time together. We felt so relaxed there. During the day, we would go out and explore the city as there were 3 malls nearly attached to each other within walking distance. Makati is a very westernized and advanced city right outside of Manila. It is the business center of the Philippines, and everywhere is clean and neat inside the city proper. After exploring one day, we went back for a nap and slept until dark. We were famished, so we went down to the garden, and I didn't want to be a cheap Charlie on our last night in the hotel. So I tell Lilette to order anything she wanted, and she wanted a mango smoothie. And I ordered a San Mig Pale Pilsner beer, my favorite there. We were in no real hurry to order food because we were just enjoying each other's company under the pale moonlight in the garden. I called for a waiter to come over and asked for another San Mig, and he hurried back with it. I gave him 100 pesos, that's about $2 US, and he said he would be back with my change. I told Lilette to tell him to keep it for his prompt service. He looked confused, so I asked Lilette to tell him I appreciate prompt service. He smiled really big and said thank you 3 times. From then on, our food came out fast, and my new friend kept his eye on my beer, and when it was empty, he was right there with another. And for his prompt service, I gave him a 20 peso coin each time. We were having such a great time, but the garden was closing, and I asked for a San Mig for the road, and then gave him one last 100 pesos for his trouble and thanked him. He spoke to her in Tagalog and thanked me profusely. As we walked to the elevator, I asked what he said to her. She said that I had given him 700 pesos, which is about $14 US, in beer tips, which would be skimpy in the U.S., but that is more than he will make in two 12-hour shifts at his job. So he told her that I was American Santa Claus. Well, Christmas is about to be over, as we must tell her family of our impending nuptials at lunch tomorrow. The bell was about to toll for me in my engagement announcement, but first Lilette and I were going to meet the whole family again. This time we would meet the family at Quezon City Memorial Circle. Quezon City is on the outskirts of Manila and is the second biggest city in the Philippines. The main road leads into the city center into a giant roundabout that encompasses a 67-acre national park. It is free to walk in and it is a great place to exercise, whether it be with the free exercise machines or just a place to go jogging, as there are plenty of paved surfaces and plenty of people and things to look at. You could also bring in a picnic lunch or visit some of the food vendor kiosks, all located in a row. We chose to meet her family, and they all bought plants from a giant outdoor garden center within the circle. We then walked around the park, and I got the cultural tour from the family, including the dancing fountains. The fountains surprised me. It was like you would see in Las Vegas or Branson, only on a much smaller scale. Still, you could stand there for 30 minutes and enjoy the free entertainment. We had not went into the engagement reveal just yet, as we were going to Jollibee and I was paying. I was relieved because Jollibee is cheap. It is the Philippine versions of McDonald's, and it is super popular for being cheap. I guess this would make more sense if I step back to the zoo episode. It is not uncommon for foreigners to be asked to provide groceries, gifts, or even money when you arrive to show that you are willing and able to support their sister. Lilette's traditional family did not want groceries or money because they all work and they have deep pride in their family name, but to adhere to tradition, they did want me to take them out to eat and break bread. I would have done this anyway, so no sweat, except I made the critical mistake of thinking the zoo in the Philippines would be cheap like most other attractions, but I was wrong. Between the zoo entrance fee and the Shakey's Pizza, I was down $375 US within an hour. So you can understand how happy I was to be professing my love to them for Lilette over value meals at the Jollibee.
We met my family at Quezon Memorial Circle. Rob is amazed the Quezon City Circle. He asked what is mean by that big tower. I explained to him. The meaning of that is Quezon Memorial Shrine is dedicated to unrivaled legacy of the first President of the Commonwealth of the Philippines, Manuel L. Quezon. It is a national shrine highlighted by a 66-meter trilon monument at the heart of Quezon City's most important park. The Quezon Memorial Shrine at the center of Quezon Memorial is the most prominent landmark in the city. Steeped in the history and heritage, the park was first envisioned in 1941 to honor the legacy of President Manuel Luis Quezon. It's perfect also there to exercise like walking or jogging because of their big spacious area, and it's very cool because lots of trees and flowers. If you don't have enough budget, it's perfect to go there because no entrance fee. It's fun to have a family picnic and dates also. Lots families there during Sunday to go there, adults and teenagers. Sometimes there are some celebrities having their concert in that big stage. The fountain during night, it gives attraction to the eye of people. If you got hungry, there are a lot of vendors in the side selling foods. Pretty perfect also, those people who are plants lover, especially my sister. She likes flowers. She bought some flowers there. We decided that we are going to tell my family about our plan and we are engaged. We meet my family at Quezon City Circle. Since Rob wants to try Jollibee, we bring my family at Jollibee. Rob started to ask permission to my mom, Kuya, and the rest of my sisters. Rob tell them he's coming back after 4 months. It's month of July for our wedding. Kuya told Rob it's too fast to plan about wedding. So Rob explained it. But after all, we agreed our plan. But sad to say, my eldest sister May don't agree my plan, but I try convinced her. I understand her, that she is worried because I'm going to marry with different culture and soon I will be leaving from my family and they cannot see me only time to time. I know it's not easy decision in my life, but I have to decide in my own. But everything was fine. Everybody was happy. I enjoyed every minute while Rob was here. Soon he will be living in Philippines. Every night having dinner at the garden, I feel so happy. I was thinking it's a magic, before I could only dream looking this fancy hotel in the internet on news and magazines. I can't believe I'm here now. The night before Rob is leaving, we talked about our plan seriously. I have to wait him until July. We woke up too early to get ready his flight going back to America. This time we are back to long-distance relationship again and I'm scared he will go back to America and never come back. It happened many Filipina from my province. Men come in and ruin Filipina reputation and then never talk again. When Rob fly back to America, it was the hardest and saddest part for us because we are away again. Before he went back to America he told me that night he will be coming back this July for our wedding. He kept promising me but 50% in my mind there was a doubt. What happened to me if he's not coming back? I will be ruined woman, no good for my life and reputation that I tell nobody about that my fiancé is American citizen. I keep our relationship secret for almost 2 years. I did not post any photos in my Facebook. Only my family's and selected trusted friends that I'm already engaged. While he was on his way to America, I ready myself that he will not communicate me back. I was thinking I'm not enough for him. Maybe he will find another woman. I was crying looking outside the window. I was holding my phone and checked every time if he has a message. Maybe I am paranoid. When my phone rang, it was him, Rob. I almost cried for happiness. He did not forget me. He updated me he was already at the airport from Japan. Until he got home from America he called me. We did not lose our communication. I was very thankful to God. While he was there in America every day, he had a video chat. Our relationship became more stronger. While I'm here, Rob told me to prepare our wedding from venue, photographer, foods, number of visitors, invitations, ring, my gown and my butterflies. He wants everything that I want to be ready, make sure I can have all I want to my dream wedding. Still I can't imagine that soon I will be marrying to the man that I want to be for the rest of my life. Before I was only imagining the gown and butterflies. He wants me to decide the style of our wedding. It's a little difficult for me because my other sister and it's very supportive for my plan. My friend is helping me too. She cheer up with me in my saddest time. She inspires me, giving me positive vibes. It's very difficult. I'm alone preparing our wedding. I searched from Google about the requirements in marrying a foreigner. I asked help my brother-in-law in civil wedding requirements. I go to the PSA to inquire. I did my best so much. I don't want to disappoint Rob. I want everything is ready when he is coming this July. My friend is helping to inquire the venue and also my family. As days goes by, my families accepted my decision that I will marry to Rob, so they started helping me in preparation. A lot of venues I inquired to find a cheaper venue. I told Rob, I want an open garden wedding at Quezon City. I told him the price. He was sending me money to pay the venue. I know it's a little bit expensive, but I did not heard he is complaining. I knew he was working too hard to provide everything to have a nice wedding. When I choose my wedding gown, my heart beat so fast for happiness. Finally, I can wear a wedding gown. I choose the best gown I want to wear. My mom also has a nice dress too, and my sisters, nephews, niece and brother-in-laws. I want to look everybody elegant in my wedding. It happens only once. Since our wedding is afternoon, I choose to have rose petals instead of butterflies. Almost everything was ready. That night before I closed my eyes, I thanked God for fulfilling my dreams in my life. I still can't imagine that Rob provided everything for my dream wedding. Before, when I was young, I just reading a fairy tale story about princess marrying a prince. I never thought it will happen into reality. I cried with joy. Now that I found him, I want that he will be proud of me. Because I was not expecting that someone loves me and fulfill my dream into reality. While waiting my fiancé from America, I still keep secret about my upcoming wedding. I want everybody surprised. I told Rob, I try my very best to do for a preparation while you're not here with me. The first thing I did is finding a venue in our wedding. I want a venue that is something related in my childhood days that is very memorable and something like magical and cool. My choices are beach, a garden that has full of flowers, mountain or farm, and I want to have butterflies. I started asking my close friend and families too about venues. The first visit is Blue Garden at Quezon City. It's very nice venue. They have 3 choices venue: the Jardin del Amor, the Chateau Hall, the Upper Gardens. The lady gave us a tour in every venues. All looks beautiful, but I need to choose one. But I really like was the Jardin del Amor. For me it looks perfect because I like the fountain and flowers. I feel I am a fairy lady. I also ask how much it cost for everything including the food package, host and everything. Before I choose the venue, we visit other venues. Almost 4 venues we visited at Marikina, San Mateo, Montalban. All venues are nice. But I have to consider also the cost that we spend from wedding venue. It's way more expensive there. My family also suggested me that we can do it for a fabulous restaurant. But I did not because it's not my dream wedding idea. And also it happened once in my life, so I want to get my dream wedding nice. Until I decided that I choose Blue Garden because it's nice, cool, I like the place, it's easy for the guests to go there and the price is not very expensive for US. So, we set an appointment at Blue Garden and we had the papers to sign in. The manager set as a food tasting so we can choose foods including the cake. And also the design of venues like flowers and chairs. All foods taste good and I am sure Rob likes it.
I was not even in the Philippines for the planning, and boy was it stressful. Stressful because I wasn't there. Stressful because I missed my soon-to-be wife, and stressful because some things just aren't cheap in the Philippines, namely weddings and wedding receptions. I knew my stress meter was about to blow, so every time I talked to Lilette and she told me cost, I politely questioned her and then said I will send money, but let's try to do our best to keep the cost down. This wedding and reception would more than double the cost of what my usual trip there would be, so I kept a kind tone and demeanor so as not to ruin our big day. I worked and hustled every bit that I could because I was not going into debt for this wedding/trip and was afraid I was going to have to tell Lilette to push the wedding back, and that would not go over well.
The night before Rob went back to America, we discussed about the plans of our upcoming wedding on July 2022. We had some list what we need to prepare while Rob is in America. I told Rob about what I want in my dream wedding. Rob agreed my idea. When time came, he fly back to America and I'm here in Philippines. I started making a list for our wedding. I do a lot of Google about wedding venues, wedding dress and cakes, and butterflies. I want a beach or a garden wedding. I saw a lot beautiful garden venues and beach venues. But I was thinking if I choose a beach venue it is far from Manila and I also considered the guests to attend our wedding. It makes them hard to go there. And also the expenses. Then, I made a final decision to have a garden wedding. A lot of time and efforts I made to search a venues and inquiries about the venues. Until my friend told me about the Blue Garden wedding events at Quezon City, Manila. I searched the internet about Blue Garden. It looks nice and there was 3 options. There was open garden and inside the hall. I was interested in this venue. I visit the Blue Garden with my friend and my family. I asked the manager in charge to give us a tour in their venues. Everything is nice. I asked about the price of wedding venues. They gave us the package deal including the food, design, MC, photographer, sounds and lights and cake. It cost 184,000 pesos. Although it was an intimate wedding for almost 30 persons only. But I have my own cake wedding design, so I still ordered another cake to get my own wedding cake design. And have my rose petals after wedding ceremony instead of butterflies. We went to Divisoria to look my wedding dress, prenuptial dress, headdress and my shoes, and my family's gown and barong. It has a lot of beautiful gowns. I was so amazed and excited. My wedding gown design was almost 16,000 pesos. For me, I knew it wasn't expensive, but I was thinking it happens only once in my life. And I was waited this for so long to have this dream wedding. My family was also had their own design of their gowns. I want them to look nice and elegant in my dream wedding. I told Rob about the venues, dresses, all the needs in our wedding and the cost. Rob never say no about the cost. He sent me money to pay off the needs of wedding. When Rob arrived here July 1st week of 2022 for our wedding, we went to City Hall and Manila U.S. Embassy to process our documents in our wedding. We went to Divisoria pick up my wedding dress and for my family. Rob has a special request in our wedding. He want to wear barong in our wedding. I was happy he liked the Philippine barong. Every day is a busy day for us to prepare the wedding. It was about 3 months of preparation in our wedding with the help of my family. It was so hard for me to prepare without my fiancé here in Manila. But I never complained it. During the night before I asleep I told myself, before I was only watching weddings in a movie and magazine, attend wedding for a closest friend, but now soon I am going to be a bride next month. I never noticed I had tears in my eyes drop off. Tears of joy because not only because I am soon to be a bride but because I got a sweet and kind future husband. Before the day of our wedding, the whole night I can't sleep, I felt a back pain. I can't explain my feelings. Maybe because my single days is over and I am facing the new chapter of my life as a wife. At the morning before I get up, I prayed first and asked God guidance for everything. I made a decision in my life. It's because in a few hours I am going to be wife. When I got the wedding venues and saw it was so beautiful and amazing. While watching my families wearing their beautiful gowns and beautiful smiles, it makes my heart so happy. While walking in the aisle seeing my husband waiting for me, I want to cry because of happiness, but I controlled myself not to cry, not to make people see me cry in my most beautiful day. This was my most beautiful day happen in my life.
The wedding game is similar yet different between our two countries. Number one, there was no rehearsal. Everyone acted like this was normal, so I went with the flow. The photographers show up and have us get dressed. They asked for too many poses in my estimation. They wanted me to put on my shoes and button my shirt while sitting in front of a fountain. For what? I don't prepare my wardrobe this way. Who asked for this picture? Then they have us all over the property posing as Lilette gazes off into the distance and I'm looking up at another fountain. I ask, why don't you have us looking at each other? I mean, we're in love after all. What is she supposed to be looking at off in the distance? So many weird poses. The worst part of the whole expensive wedding photo shoot, like every Filipina you will meet, they used a whitening filter so my beautifully tanned wife looked white and her white husband looked transparent. This was not revealed until we got the proofs in the mail. Totally unrecognizable. Neither of us looked like that. But on to the wedding. We only had about 30 guests, and it was decorated very fancy, very classy. I went up to the front with my family of groomsmen in tow and stood to wait for my bride. All the participants made their way to their places, and the processional began, and Lilette came to the opening of the aisle and stopped. My heart almost stopped as well, and I considered taking a knee to recover and catch my breath. She looked beautiful. As with most Filipinas with a province background, you're never going to see them in full hair and makeup and a fancy gown until such time as you are exchanging vows. I already knew I was a lucky man, but watching her walk towards me to be joined in holy matrimony is a feeling I will never forget.